Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. So I'm gonna be looking straight ahead at YouTube. No disrespect. If you on IG, yeah, cousin. If you on IG, okay. Yo, Stretch. I'm doing a live stream now. If you want to come on the say hi to everybody at the festival. Yeah, I will. I definitely will check out those contracts. I thought I had sent the updated contract to you. But a lot's been going on, so I'll definitely check that out tonight. Very late. Very late. Um Also we gonna have my brother Danny on the joint. Now, why can't I see Blessings Divine if he's backstage? Okay, y'all don't see the music, huh? Y'all don't hear the music. All right. So I'm gonna have to turn off the music since only I hear it. And I'm trying to see why do you. Oh, I know why. It's the wrong link. Yo, blessings. Thank you, my G. It was a link from a previous call. That's why. All right. So I'm sending you the updated link in your IG. Let's give Blessings Divine some hearts. Pound the hearts for teamwork. Pound the hearts for teamwork because I definitely would not have figured this out without Blessings Divine right now in the place to be. Yo, bless. You just saved the whole. You just saved the whole event, my G. I was about to have these artists waiting on the raw late. Okay. So boom. Blessing Divine is going to be the first guest. Yo, pound some hearts and likes if you love the transparency. If you love the transparency, pound some hearts and likes right now. You know? Because that's just what it is. It's nothing but transparency up in here. Okay. So we getting through technical difficulties as we do, not letting nothing stop us. Ain't no stopping us now. Ain't no stopping us now. All right, so now I got shout out to Riri. I might need to get her in on this too, my star, one of the main organizers of the festival. You know. You know. Okay, we got Blessings of the Divine in the chat. What's up, Blessings Divine in the chat? Check your mic. Say 1, 2. Let me see if I can hear you.
Peace. What up? What up? What up? How was sound? How the levels?
Oh, snappity snap. You know what I'm gonna do? Watch this for everybody at home. Watch what happens right now. Boom. See? Or I could do this. I could do this. Nah. How do I make him the? I'm trying to make him the main feature. How do I do that? Boom. Okay. Blessings Divine featured. Okay. For those of you on IG, you missing it out. My G Hydro, I'm sending you the link to join in a minute too. So Blessings Divine.
Good seeing you again, bro.
For those on IG, you need to go to soundmindshiphop.com right now. The interviews for the festival preparation on my channel, soundmindshiphop.com, with my co-stars Light and Pup has begun. There's a lot of preps. There's a lot of love being shown for the birthday. But right now, it's all about using my channel to talk about the 15th International Hip Hop Festival, which is now virtual, free to people all over the world to join in. So,
which is always crazy because it always lands on your birthday, which is super dope. Happy born day, by the way, King.
Thank you, my G. I do like to say that it's my birthday, you know, unofficially, and people ask like, did you plan it that way? And it's like, nah, I never planned it that way. But you know, especially meaningful this year, right? Because I can't really go out and be interacting with people and touching people, and you know, ain't no hugs being given, you know what I'm saying? And I'm a friendly, like, in-person dude. So the fact
Yes,
that
you are.
this festival, in a sense, allows me to have a party where I can still interact with a lot of people and see a lot of people, just, you know, I like to connect people. Like, I've connected you to different people. That's one of my things, just connecting people to other people, because we have this belief from all the negative aspects of humanity have given us this belief that it's like, you know, like, people is out to get you and it's all you for yourself. And it's like, nothing could be further from the truth. Like,
True
this
indeed.
water I'm drinking right now, like, I didn't go purify this water and package it and build the refrigerator and the filter. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's way more people, animals, molecules, plants. Like, there's so much in the universe that is conspiring to help us despite our own idiocy and hypocrisy. That it's like, that's what I love to do. It's not just about, just, I'm just saying this to clear it up. You know what I mean? When I say, like, I like seeing a lot of people, it's not like, because again, we always see things in a negative way. It's not like, oh, I need to, like, see a lot of people to be recognized. I like to see people getting love from other people in the midst of being told that they're all by themselves. You get what I'm saying? So what better than this year to, even though we can't physically be close to new people and interact with people, which is also always something we did at the festival, to say, look, even though I don't know you, you know what I'm saying? Like, and Hydro, I see your I see you in the weight room, but I don't see your camera. You got to turn your camera on, but it's all good, because once Blessings Divine, you up next. Despite all that, right? To show, yes, in fact, there are people that God love for you and that you can meet and that are doing things that you're doing and that you care about on other sides of the globe. You know what I mean? It's just a beautiful thing. So real quick, let me just congratulate you. You are the first favorite showcase winner to be the showcase winner 2 days in a row, which is also another funny thing. Minister Server, can I, you know what? I'm not even going to ask, but it's a Server. I'm sending you the link because I want you to get in on this interview goodness as well.
Peace to brother
Sending
Minister
Server a link.
Amazing.
You know, I might even need to bring Minister Server in with you. You know,
that'd be peace.
And if Hydro, I did see you backstage, so just fix your camera or whatever, and join back on as well. You know what I'm saying? But okay, Stretch is not able to join us from Istanbul. That's okay, my brother. I understand you're working, you overseas. It's all good. It's totally all good. We got love for you. We'll see you soon. But yeah, so what does it mean to you? Because you've been coming to the festival before you were a featured artist and before you were a favorite artist. And a lot of people, like, I hear people all the time say, like, oh, put me on the festival. Like, it's funny, it never fails. Like, the 2 days before the festival, even though this is planned for like 15 years and it's always like a year full of the students like planning and getting things, it's always like 2 days before the festival, I start getting hundreds of people like, hey, can I be in the festival this year? And it's like, nah, it don't work like that. Like, and it's not even up to me. But you know, you are one of the people who had that question in mind and humbly was like, no, seriously, like, how can I contribute to the festival? You know, and not just how can I be featured, but like, how can I contribute to the festival? So when I see you up there today and this weekend, it means a lot. You know, you've always tried to ask, like, when people don't show up or like all kinds of technical difficulties going, you've always been one to show up. And I love seeing when people like that really you know, get it what they deserve. Minister Server, I just sent you the link to join the YouTube live stream, because people are just seeing the IG stream angle, but we're actually live on YouTube and Facebook. So I want you to jump on this if you may, even if it's just for 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, jump in and join the convo. We also gonna have Hydro. We should be having Do Me Right, maybe some of the organizers as well. Who?
You should. Hydro's also a monster, though, by the way. And you should fix the screen so both of us on the screens. I just see myself. You doing most of the talking.
Oh. I'm right here. I'm back.
There
Sorry
we
about
go.
that.
There we go.
I didn't mean to have you lonely over there. So, so yeah. So what does it mean to you to be a featured artist? Because that was the longest introduction ever. What does it mean to you? Congratulations. What does it mean to be featured at the 15th International Hip Hop Festival?
Yo, it's peace. What is bond? Because like a lot of people don't know how hard I worked. Like you've been mentioning, I've been going to the hip hop fest for a long time. I've been going to hip hop fest since before I was an MC. Like that's been a minute. So like,
Wow.
it's not just how hard I worked and all the hours I put in every single day. When I'm working at that warehouse overnight, 12 and a half hour shift, I'm writing rhymes in my head and just practicing my deliveries and stuff like that. Because it's so much about the people for me. It's really about the upliftment of the people. That's why I decided I am now Blessings Divine. I'm gonna take up that microphone and really try to start spitting for the people. So it's really all about the people I'm trying to serve at the end of the day. Like that's how I tell people, like, I am your servant, not your slave, your servant. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to help
Yo,
you.
it's funny
That's
because the
really the
first
thing.
person I actually heard that from, I'm not sure if you could hear on IG, but the first person I heard that from was Minister Server. Minister Server, just log in whenever you're ready. I just sent you the link in the DM. I just DM'd you the link. By the way, for interviewees, if I'm sending you the link, do not share it. This is not the link. So anybody who wants to watch the stream is soundmindshiphop.com and Soundminds Hip Hop on Facebook. But I'm sending the interviewees a private link so they can be on the show. That link is not for the public. All right. So let's go back. What was your journey to getting here, and including that middle part where it was like, oh, am I not going to get to perform now that I finally like won the favorite showcase, and then COVID happened. So take us back to the beginning. What was your journey? What attracted you to the festival before you were like part of the team, so to speak, as a winner and as a featured artist? What was your journey to get you here?
The short version. I mean, yeah, like a lot of people, I grew up listening to rap music and stuff like that. But the thing that got me into hip hop culture was being a b-boy. So that was like my entry point. You know what I'm saying? My brother was breaking, and I decided it was cool. I wanted to do it too. And I just, since high school, I've been breaking. That's over a decade ago now since I first started. But I went from breaking to popping to crumping to doing different styles, and I get to meet different beats. And I'm a avid
So you was
studier.
coming through the events and everything. Like, is that what you saying? Like you would just be finding whatever events you could get to and just making sure you was breaking.
Yeah, I came in as a battle dancer, so I was battling. If there
Okay.
was a battle, I don't care. I just thought that was garbage, terrible. My first ever battles on YouTube. I will not tell you what the link is, but I've been battling since A1 day one. So Hip Hop Fest was for the
Okay.
battles.
So what happened from then? You basically came to the festival as a b-boy, jumping in the ciphers, seeing the full room and everything like that. What happened after that point?
I've also
What
been a
was the next
poet
step?
since I've been like in sixth grade, and I've been always writing stories and stuff. And I'm also a lifelong musician, so just like musicianship and poetry comes together perfectly as MCing. So I just kind of started writing on my own, and I'll never forget that day. I just something just people would start telling me, my close friends I would like closet rap to. They start telling me you're getting too nice to be here by yourself, just talking to yourself with your rhymes. And I'm like, no, but I'm cool like this. I'm comfortable. And they're like, no, you gotta do something. I'll never forget. We was at in fact, Brother Hydro was there. It was one of their hip hop festival summer jams on Vernon Street. I think it was Vernon Street. And you actually called MCs up to the front to
Hydro
freestyle.
is on the live as well, by the way, who he just
Yes,
referenced.
sir.
So we about to bring Hydro in the interview in a second. But you saying so you was at an event, Hydro was there,
Yep. And
and
you
what
called all
happened?
the MCs to the front. So like you, Tang Sauce
I've
went
been known to
up,
do that.
Hydro went up. Yeah, and I'm sitting there breaking. I'm there with B-Boy Tiger and Pop Tart and everybody else. I'm breaking and popping. We all getting in. You call everyone up,
Okay.
and then everyone's looking at me because I walked up on stage thinking I'm gonna try to do something. And we passed the mic. Man, I didn't even know how to hold the mic right. I remember Hydro was saying to me like this, because he's trying to hear what I'm saying, and I'm not getting the mic
Hydro was
right.
like,
My legs
it
are
was
shaking,
like,
and I'm actually trying to come off the top, which I wasn't as nice at the time because I didn't like have my stuff memorized that well yet.
damn.
And that was
And
my
had
first
you ever
time.
battle rapped at all? Had you ever battle rapped at all at that point?
At that point, no. Now, yeah, I eat
Had
them up for
had
breakfast.
you rapped in ciphers at that point at all or no?
Yeah, Cypress, yeah. It was like, with your homies or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like in front of on a stage, in front of a crowd, trying to come off the top. That was like a whole new experience at that time. Also, I missed one thing. The Poetry Slam the year before. I was at the Poetry Slam the year before and I killed it.
Okay.
By grace of God, you know what I'm saying?
I'm
So that
about
kind
to
of
ask
piggybacked me.
Hydro a question because from my perspective, that's what made me so nasty as an MC to this day. Those kind of experiences that you talking about, where it's like, damn, I'm nervous. It's a crowd. It's some, or we on the block or in the staircase, and like people are going for the juggler. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that
man.
type of tension and scary adrenaline situation is what actually
My
trains your
legs.
brain to be able to think fast. You know what I mean?
My
So
legs is doing
before
one of
you go,
these, you heard?
I'm gonna let you continue the story, but before you go with that, let me just ask Hydro, like, how important was those you know, let me make sure Hydro's unmuted. Hydro, how important was those first moments of the adrenaline, you know what I mean, and the nervousness in the cipher to being a dope FC?
Honestly, that's peace. First of all,
Peace.
that's make or break right there. That nervousness, that energy, that fear, the unknown. That's
Mm-hmm.
something that exists in all competitive sports, including battling, including being in a cipher. Because even in the cipher, it could be aggressive or it could be competitive because you wanna show and prove you in the cipher. So you got to add on to the cipher and you want to
Right.
show and prove that you belong there. Because a lot of times, if you get in that cipher and you start rapping and you can't hold your own, you're not gonna rap again. Point blank. Period. So those
But if you
those
do
few
make
moments
it through,
those made me
you're
into
like
a lion.
right. You see? So okay, so now let me unmute you, bless. So going from there, you was a dancer, and then you said your knees was wobbling when you was trying to be a rapper in the cipher. And the only reason that's interesting to me is because a lot of people don't know, like sometimes I had seen you walking on crutches. So for you to
Oh
talk about
God.
like you getting nervous and your knees wobbling, but also being a dancer, it's something that always is a testament to your perseverance. Which could you just explain that a little bit, like how you be walking on crutches and sometimes your knees locks up? Like, what was that whole
Uh,
struggle and journey like with you, and how could you continue to be a dancer where more people would might give up with that type of situation?
it all comes down to desire. Like at the end of the day, do you want it or do you not want it? That's all that really matters. I don't care about nothing else. I don't care about what your mama said. I don't care what you had for dinner last night. I don't care if you pay your rent, don't pay your rent. Do you want it? Do you not want it? That's really what it comes down to. And I
Okay, but
wanted
a
it
lot of
like
people
nothing
might
else.
say that. People might say that, but I don't think people understand. Like, could you explain what happens with your knees? I think they get dislocated or sometimes. Like, let them know that you're not just like a bougie person saying this. Like, you actually have a physical struggle that you deal with. So
Yeah.
please break that down so people can know like the integrity behind the person that's saying this.
Yeah, I got an issue with my knees. So yeah, if I'm not careful, I'm not walking. That's just point blank. And there's a lot of stuff. There's stuff I've been practicing for like 8, 9 years. I just had to stop doing just because I couldn't do it no more. So, but I still found ways to innovate and still found ways to, when the energy is hitting and you start playing, people in your face, I still got a way to back people off. You know what I'm saying? With a shotgun, boom. Like, oh, he just
Mm.
did that. So it's like I said, like if you really want to do it, you're gonna find a way to do it. Ain't no real excuses are gonna happen. So yeah, that
So
put a pause on a
is
lot
it
of things I
actually to
did.
the point where sometimes like you'll come away from an event and need to be walking on crutches?
Yeah, that's happened before. That's happened before.
And does that mean like sometimes before an event you just will have to say I'm not gonna dance, or how does that work? Like, do
I'm
your knees
just
fail
gonna
on
be
you at
careful.
certain times, or
They can, honestly, they can. I've done battles with a cane before, just like actually at the last in-person hip hop festival. I
Mhm.
was in the battles with my cane. People were like, "Yo, that was so cool. The cane looks cool. It's a real good style. What's the cane for?" I was like, "To help me walk." And was like, "Wait, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, I walk on with the cane for a reason. It's not
That's
style."
crazy.
So yeah,
Yeah,
just
I just want to
as
say
a
shout out to everybody that said I Am Songbird is one of the dopest voices. If y'all haven't heard, I became aware of I Am Songbird on the Cambada album. What up, Demetrius? You might help me with my birthday wishes. One of my birthday wishes is to get a photo shoot. At least 1 or 2 photo shoots for my birthday. You know what I'm saying? Got my Aries
yes,
Ram,
yes.
curled up locks, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So Hydro was just talking about the importance of, the challenge and adrenaline with learning to be freestyle. So you came from b-boying, you persevered despite the fact that your knees break and sometimes you need dislocate, sometimes you need to get the you know, basically the crutches out, or even won a battle with the cane. So I guess to go from there, let's just shout out up on the screen. I have the flyer for the International Hip Hop Festival. We are interviewing people involved with the festival. This is the 15th annual. It is virtual this year due to COVID, but the good thing is if enough of y'all share it, we can include more people than we ever could fit in the building. So if, let's say, the most people we could get is 1,000 or 2,000, hey, let's go for 2001. Who knows? Let's go for 20,000. Why not? It's hip hop. It's peace, love, unity, having fun. All these people making money off what they think hip hop is, and sucking out the culture and doing what they want to do with it without any regard for the youth. This has always been a festival where we try to show diversity to youth, peace to the youth, love to the youth, having talent, not just taking the easy way out, but actually having to have the talent to speak a righteous message and not come off corny. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, now, why not share that to the rest of the world? Why not let everybody in the building in the midst of this circumstance? So that's what I'm calling everybody who's watching this to do. Go out, hit the link in the bio, register for free. Get a message from Minister Server from the Temple of Hip Hop, and just see what the culture is really about, like never before. And not you don't have to debate with people who don't know it when you could show them this example once a year. How about that? So
And they could
let's
be the
go
example.
into that real quick. Let's go into, now that you battled, you came through the b-boying, you came through the MCing. Now, what was your next step into finding out about the favorite showcase and eventually winning into the favorite showcase?
Um, First thing that comes to my mind is seeing you and Tang Sauce crowd surfing while freestyling. I guess that was 5 years back now.
Word?
That
What?
was that thing.
At the festival?
At the festival, I'll never forget it. You guys are crowd surfing while rapping at Hip Hop Fest. I think that was the year
I
Rakim
remember that.
was that, and I was like, "Yo, that's dope. I've never crowd surf. I don't think I'm gonna try it. If I'm there and you're trying to do it again, I might try to scare you again because it was funny last time. But like
Right,
just seeing like Tang on the stage with the mic, I'm like, that's a brother from from around my way. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the hood and everything. So
right.
seeing like someone
Facts.
from your area do something like that, that's peace. And I'm like, and I'm a hip hop junkie to the T. Like I said,
Right,
I've been listening to rap music all my life, but I came into the culture as a b-boy. And from I had to
right,
know everything about it. I had started studying all kinds of stuff. I had to learn about Rocksteady, New York City Breakers. I started learning about all the different aspects of the style. Where did Top Rocket come
right.
from? How did the music evolve this way? Okay, well, how did the dancing evolve to change that? How did Electro Boogie fit into the picture? So what did East Coast styles and West Coast styles mix into hip hop? Because
You
popping and
know,
rocking, all that stuff, that's folk styles. So that become hip hop. I had to
it's
learn all that.
it's so crazy because now that I'm releasing the next season to make it full time, my coaching program for creatives, right? Don't have to be rappers,
Mhm.
but just making a living as a creative and enjoying your life, not just money, but like having a well-rounded life as an artist. Like, I found an interview from you from when you was first taking the course, and you hadn't quit your job yet. So like on the course you had quit the job, and one of the reasons that we do that on the course, we have to have a reason behind making money doing what you love. It got to be powerful enough if you're really gonna, you know, leave your job and still got loved ones to provide for and stuff like that. And it was funny because I was listening to it just yesterday, and you were like, my goal is not just to be dope as a rapper. I want, like, you know, the pioneers, you know, to feel honored by what I'm doing. The Rakim, the KRS,
Yeah,
the
sounds
Dougie
about
Fresh,
right.
the Slick Rick, stuff like that. So it's funny hearing you say it because you literally said that in our small circle when we was talking to creators about like why they're gonna leave having an employer and just do this, like what will propel them. You're so much in the culture, like you said, to do that. So let me go over to Hydro for a second. Stay right there because I want to ask him about
What's up?
his journey into the favorites and then come back to you because now you're at the next level, having won the favorite showcase, but then been put on the shelf for a year due to COVID. And now this finally being the moment this weekend where you are going to get to be a headliner through that stage. So let me just check in if Hydro could still hear me. Yo, Hydro, you still there?
I'm here, bro.
All right, so let me ask you this. What
So on
was
the
your
same thing.
journey? Yeah, basically the same thing.
What was my journey?
Yeah. Like from the beginning of coming to the festival to like getting into the favorite showcase.
Well, shout out to Zulu Camacho. He was always telling me about the Trinity Hip Hop Festival. And then,
The first person to run the B-Boy Cypher for years and
yep,
years and just do mad events in Hartford for years
mad
to the point
events,
where
mad
New
events.
Yorkers was coming up here like this is where the coast is at right now. Definitely salute to Camacho on that.
If the next time we get back in the building together physically, if you can get to Trinity College for the hip hop festival, you need to be there, especially for the b-boy events and the dance events. I'm a rapper, and I sit there in amazement and awe at, you know, Bless Divine. I met Bless. He was on the dance floor. You know what I'm saying? And then start seeing him in ciphers. So that was dope to see him doing that, and now to the big stage. But that's how I got there. Camacho was telling me about it. I ended up going there one year, checking it out, and was like just blown away that I had been missing this, and was like I was kicking myself in the rear end because I was missing literally a slice of hip hop in my backyard, and the names, the people that come that we know are the pioneers, are the foundation, but then also those that we don't know. The international aspect completely blew me away. Some of these artists, I don't know what they're saying, but I feel what they're saying. I feel their energy. So that was
Right,
my first. That was my first
right.
induction. Being a battle rapper, I battled at Trinity College. Trinity was one of my first arenas, battling in Mather Hall against a Trinity student who was like one of the favorites there. Shout out to Smoking Herbs on 89.3 radio. They got
Oh,
me up in.
snap. Wait, so this
Listen,
was way
man.
before the festival. So you had already battled
Before,
on the grounds of the campus before the festival.
listen, I lived up the street from Trinity College. My brother
Wow.
from boxing and his sister were Trinity College students. I ran around Trinity College. I was in that pool. I was on that basketball court. I was in that dining hall. I'm Trinity. Even though I didn't attend there, I am a unofficial alumni.
Right, right, exactly. So then what led you from that moment to the moment today where you actually participated in the favorite showcase?
Wow. It's amazing, and nothing is coincidental to everyone that's tuning in. to everyone that's saying, wow, man, I wish I could be on the Trinity International Festival. I felt the same way. To be a part of it now, I grinded my way here. Nothing, this wasn't given to me. Don't ever think that you will be given a spot. You earn a spot on that stage because you are representing hip hop. You are representing Trinity College. And I was hitting self up every year. Yo, what's up, bro? I need to get up there. I'm Hartford, Battle Rap, 106 in Park, BET, Freestyle Friday, multiple champion. I'm humble.
Yo, were you? I know you was one of the first, but weren't you the first? I think you was like the main person in the history of BET to do it, because you was there more than once, correct?
I was there more than once, and the magnitude of it was crazy because of how they transition formats and the competition aspect. But I must shout out Money Ray from Hartford. If I'm not mistaken, Money Ray, legend, Hartford's author. If I'm not mistaken, Money Ray was the first. Gold, another Hartford battle rap legend and just a barsmith. Like, Gold is like a Floyd Mayweather. Crazy. So I battled against Gold before. I never battled against I never battled against Money Ray, but those two guys were there before me. They paved the way. They inspired me to get up there, but they paved the way.
That's funny because I think I had to battle Gold once too at St. Joseph's. That was like one of my things I had to do to come up.
I remember me and you got into a battle at the bar with no name, and we did a little 1-2 back and forth at Sully's before, and it was like that was like, yo, Self, I love you as my brother. I love you as my brother today, and we've gotten to know each other and build this bonding relationship. But you are that guy, man. Like, I want you all to know this guy right here. I don't know when he sleeps or how he sleeps, but shout out to him. And more importantly, shout out to his queen for supporting him and giving him the energy and the drive to do what he do.
Thank you.
This guy is literally, I call it self-suffice Hartford's advocate, man. That's Hartford's advocate right there. He's the hip-hop professor with Professor Markle.
Yes, shout out to Professor Markle. You know, for using his privilege to help give me a platform always.
He's the professor, and you are definitely like the graduate student who is seeking tenure. But you definitely have been running around. You definitely have been running around. Yo, you've inspired me, and you've also lit a fire under me. You also lit a fire up under me to be like, yo, you gotta be present. You gotta be hydro. So I also appreciate that. We come from the era of being able to hold each other accountable, and we need that more in hip hop. I love that about Trinity in all aspects. You know, everybody that's involved with this.
Hold on. I'm glad you said that because let me make sure we all on the screen again. I'm glad you said that because that's really what I love about the festival. One of the weird things is to have something. Hip hop was basically created in the absence of getting institutional support. Our pioneers came up with hip hop, right? So now to have hip hop where so many young ones is being introduced to hip hop is something where you have to have a cosign or some kind of institutional support. When it was made for people who didn't have institutional support to be able to exchange peace, love, unity, and still have fun instead of killing each other, you know, and trying to think that the best they could do was kill people that look like them in their own neighborhood, just going with the program. You know what I'm saying? So for that to be what we've been able to maintain at the festival, right? Where it's like, yeah, you rocked at 106 in Park. You did all these things. Even if you didn't, even if I didn't do some of the more famous things in companies that I've worked with, like if I have that talent and that brilliance, where I'm giving this service, I'm making people want to take a craft more serious, right? It shouldn't matter if someone ever came along and picked me out to be on their brand or not, right? That's cool. That's a cool byproduct, a side effect, but it should never be the whole thing. You feel me? So like what you saying is powerful. If anything, I think that's what the festival stands for. Like, and that's really what the favorite showcase is. It's like anybody could come in, anybody could get on that mic at the favorite showcase. But how many people say, yeah, I want to get on the mic versus nah, I just want to be the headliner. I just want to be on the stage. How do I be on the stage? And that's funny too, because one of the ways you could get on the stage is by being in the favorite showcase. But it's so many people that just have been brainwashed into this, like, oh, I need the industry to pick me. I need to be on the stage. I need to be in the spotlight. Hip hop is about ciphering with people. Someone's like an MC. You don't be like, oh yeah, I'm a rapper. I got a Ferrari. You spit some bars on the spot. So I don't want to go overboard on it, but thank you for mentioning that, because that's everything to me.
Great. The hip hop festival in its essence, the hip hop festival in its essence is hip hop. Because if you're a historian of hip hop, which you should be, you should never enter into anything and not get knowledge of that. Why would I go over there and not research where I'm going? You can't just jump into hip hop culture and not know where it came from.
Right, exactly.
On that note, we got Minister Server on the call. That was perfect timing.
Hold up.
Go ahead. Say that thing. Say that thing. Go ahead.
I don't do hip hop. I don't do music. Hip hop is an energy, man, that it's magical. It's alchemy. It takes over me. That's why my freestyle is like out of this world, because I don't even know where it's coming from. It's coming from the universe. I'm tapping in. I'm tuned in. The hip hop festival in its essence, hip hop was created and the battles were created to stop the violence in the streets of New York. The battles, the b-boy battles, the MC battles, the graffiti battles, the DJ battles. They asked why hip hop is aggressive. It's because it was in the streets where they were combating negative forces and taking that negative and making it a positive.
Right.
So the hip hop festival in essence does that. We're on a college campus, prestigious college campus, and all these rooms and all these ballrooms, watching incredible dancers from all over the planet. MCs from all over the planet, DJs from all over the planet, like the one that just checked in right now, the legendary
Minister Server. On that note, how you feel about that, Server? How you feel about that truth being spit about?
I'm sitting here listening to Hydro. Got the sermon going on and whatnot, man. I'm excited, man, about it. Always, as I always tell y'all, man, y'all doing an incredible work. You know, sometimes I don't really think y'all realize just how fucking dope and amazing y'all are, man. Y'all doing something that's just not being done, and you're setting a blueprint of what can be done. And I tell people, I do a lot of events, but this is by far my favorite event every year, because in my own mind, it's the manifestation of the vision that I have of hip hop. You know, being international, being multiracial, multicultural, you know, many different faiths, many different ethnicities and stations in life. And for it to be, you know, particularly with the youth to change, you know what I'm saying, bringing in the young people in and let them get the essence of the culture. That is crucial, man. So, you know, big up to y'all for hanging in there, particularly, you know, big up to Blessed Divine as well. I remember many times seeing, you know, jump in the cypher, Blessed Divine and Hydra as well, man. You know, again, it's always the energy, higher infinite power, healing our people, higher infinite power. We can't really explain what it is. We can use words all day, but it's really unexplainable what this force and this power really is. You know what I'm saying? So again, I'm just happy that y'all keep the old man hanging out with y'all and whatnot. You know, honored to be here. Word up.
Yo, I got a question. Hydro was just talking about the fact that like there's a aggression energy and everything like that. And like, could you talk about that for a fact? We have these principles: peace, love, unity, safely, having fun. And I think sometimes people either say, well, that's not hip hop because there's aggression, or they say, well, that's like these parts of hip hoppers that don't relate. And what it really is we never had peace, love, unity, and having fun given to us. So the whole thing was to create ways, right? These elements that have gone from like 4 to 5 to maybe some people say 10 elements, and these 4 principles to create it regardless of the white supremacy, the violence, the drugs, all these limited strategies to survive. The pioneers managed to come up with a way to create peace, love, unity, and having fun when it wasn't easy to do. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, definitely, man. You know, when we look at the origin, you know, one of the things I talk about is obviously we know the elements. You know, the first 4 creative elements: breaking the sequence, DJing. Those are ancient elements that have been around forever. But when you talk about the circumstance that manifests hip hop, and you have to really look at it, you know, that's why I always approach hip hop from a spiritual, cultural, political mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at, you know, these folks were literally killing people. You know what I'm saying? Literally burning down buildings, literally just marginalizing people. So, you know, we
could see footage of that today.
Right. We talk about it being aggressive. You know, the first 4 elements are aggressive because they're competition. But it was aggression, like I said, to keep from, you know, being negative and hurting each other. So when you look at what was happening back in the public gang, you look at what happened with the Black Spades and the nomadic savages and the nomad savages, and all them coming together and say, you know what? Instead of killing ourselves, as the government is trying to set up to do, we're going to get this aggression out through our art form. You know what I'm saying? Which is why, you know, even as a hip hop minister, I tell people, I know sometimes as a minister, people wanted to be all soft and flowery, but Jesus was a revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? And you got to make sure that you give it to the people the way that they can hear it and the way they can accept it. And hip hop is that same way. It's like any other culture. It's not really for everybody. Because of the influence of the entertainment industry, you get it confused. You know, there's a difference between hip hop culture and hip hop corporation. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, hip hop corporation has its place, but hip hop culture is the foundation. I tell people hip hop culture starts in 1973. Hip hop corporation doesn't start until 1979 with Rappers Delight. So in those 6 years, developing what we
shout out to Grandmaster Cass. We just had him on the podcast, and it's funny you say Rappers Delight, because from 73 to 79, that's 6 years. But it's funny you say that because we know even then Cass wrote like the most glorious verse of the Rappers Delight song, and even in that moment didn't get credit for the song. So it was like even in that moment exactly, you already saw something verging from the culture representation to this. What did you call it? The hip hop industry?
Right. A corporation.
Corporation. The hip hop corporation. Okay.
And you know, and it's funny because back like in '95, I wrote an article in 1995 in the Warner Street Newsletter, which was Atlanta's first hip hop publication, and it was called Hip Hop Civil War: The Culturalists versus the Capitalists. Because this is when the industry started to infiltrate. They started to give people these so-called record deals and things of that nature. Started buying up the indie labels. Because remind you know, prior to Def Jam coming in and Epic coming in, it was all independent labels and artists and the whole nine. It wasn't even meant to be a part of the mainstream entertainment industry, but they was dissonant. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have any kind of respect for it. So for us to be here 40 years later and the #1 genre of music in the world, that's something that we can't necessarily claim credit just ourselves. That's the universe, that's the creator, that's our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Working through us. So those of us that keep that cultural continuity, we are the ones that, as you said, Suffice, whether it's 5 people or 5 million people, it don't matter to us. You know what I'm saying? It's about that cultural continuity. You know, I tell people, I look at hip hop as any other culture. You know, people love reggae music, love Bob Marley, but they know nothing about Rastafarian culture. That's the responsibility for Rastafarians. I feel the same way about hip hop. You may love rap music or people on a DJ, But if you're not self-identified as being a part of my culture, I'm not expecting you to do anything but be a consumer or be a performer. But if
Wow.
you say that I'm hip-hop or I'm a part of this culture, it's not unreasonable that I hold you accountable and you can hold me accountable because we're building a culture. We are baby culture. We're less than 50 years. All of you right now, listen, imagine how they're going to talk about self-suffice 50 years from now. Imagine 100 years from now how they're going to talk about self-suffice when they start pulling up
And
footage.
that's
Like,
why
what the fuck?
that's why these interviews is important and it's showing improving the ciphers, because I remember I was standing with you and Tony Crush just in a knowledge cipher, you know what I mean, and in a matter, just in a knowledge cipher, and y'all was dropping gems on me because I was like, yo, I was coming from a perspective like, yo, I'm straight off the top, improvised freestyle, da da da. And I was like, yo, people that don't know the coach. Because in my mind, I'm already seeing my future. Like, I'm going to be a representative of hip hop. You know what I mean? So I'm talking like that, but not knowing when I'm in front of the pioneers, I need to make sure I know it. I can't just have the idea that I could talk it. And you checked in with me, like, y'all checked in with me, like, yo, really, freestyle isn't just improvisational. That is one of the paths it took. And it's good to check people on their off the top skills. But originally, also, freestyle was meant to be a non-conceptual rhyme. And that's a responsibility in itself. Just like it's a skill to be able to come up and say things as relevant to the moment, it's a skill to not have to come up because you're prepared and you're playing because you care that much about what you're doing, to always have those lyrics or those dance moves or those styles in your black book. You know what I'm saying? So you are a perfect example of that for me. Like, okay, it's one thing to know I am a representative, I'm going to be a bigger representative, but if I don't check in with the people who knew before me, then what's the point of me? Like, why should I even have this platform? So I want to thank you for that.
Hey man, because again, I think, well, I talk to young people all over the world, and when I tell them in all seriousness that, I'm in my hip hop grandpa phase, you know what I'm saying? And I pray that all of you get through the hip hop grandpa and hip hop grandma phase of it, because at the end of the day, it's about cultural continuity. I'm a father and grandfather, so at the end of the day, in my heart, my mind, I believe that I'm helping the world do better for my children and my grandchildren through hip hop culture. You know what I'm saying? Which is why the Hip Hop Declaration of Peace, those principles are so important, because it's not about personalities and about organizations. It's about principles that we all hold ourselves accountable. And as we grow in this culture, like I said, imagine, I've literally seen your children grow up at the festival, right? Like literally, I've seen them grow up. I've seen baby, the reminders actually conceive the child at the festival. So we're seeing it happening right now in the time that we're in. So, it's about honoring that cultural continuity, everybody having their lane. I salute you young brothers and sisters that are out there doing your thing, because it's really about us. And that's what I love about hip hop, that we all multi-generational now. One of the challenges that, you have the entertainment industry corporation again that tries to pit us against each other. And it's not about that at all. So I from up here that they're not connected enough to the young people, so they only see it from one point of view. But we have to allow the young people to express the way that they express. That's how the culture is growing. So big up to y'all again for allowing me, the dopest hip hop grandpa ever, to be up in this.
Okay, so that's a perfect segue back to Blessings. Blessings being the youngest of the next, the newest favorite to come through the experience of being in the favorites. And if anybody has to go at any time, you welcome to free. I appreciate y'all checking in, but you can hang in with us for a while as well. So now let's finish this journey of Blessings. We knew he was a b-boy. We knew sometimes he walked away from the battles on crutches because of how his knees dislocate, and he kept doing it regardless. He even won. And people say, oh, what's that cane style? For those who wasn't watching before. And he said, that's because my legs ain't working. That's why I have a cane. It's not a style. It's not a gimmick. But then went from that to seeing the energy and saying, you know what, I want to be an MC. And then went to actually quitting his job, learning more and more about how to do for self, and saying, in my program, Make It Full Time, we have to have like a bigger purpose before. I don't just tell people quit your job. You know what I mean? Like, we go through a whole process. And he said, I want the legends and the pioneers who I respect, who made this platform when it wasn't cool. I want them to mention my name. I want them to feel not just the name, but the honor. He was talking about how I want them to say that I'm one of the guys who they feel honored by as following in the footsteps. So that was the point you was at. Where did it go from there where you actually got into the favorite showcase? Why did you get into the favorite showcase? And then what was your experience coming from the favorite showcase the last 2 years up to this very weekend?
I also dropped a plus degree on one point coming up to that. I also hated being an entertainer. And as expressive as dance is, I also did the other element. I was also a graffiti writer and all that type of stuff. As expressive as dance is, and as beautiful as stories you could tell as a dancer, for those who can't understand the stories, you get treated like the Negro who's there to entertain everybody. And I hated that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a serious mind to be contended with. You don't necessarily have to know that, but don't treat me like I'm here to just entertain you when that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand there's a whole human value behind this spot, especially since I was doing a whole bunch of stuff with people who don't look like us, and they have that whole thing about we to serve them. I'm like, no, I am not. I am not. So that was another thing. Like I had to do something, like just so they know. Like, listen, hip hop is a form of higher intelligence. Hip hop is a way of thinking. There's nothing more potent in the universe than that thought energy. You know what I'm saying? That's the application of knowledge right there. That's that 1, 2, knowledge and wisdom. But like, and again, that was first off. Also, shout out to the Myths course. If y'all have never taken Myths with Kaheem, I highly recommend it. It does get you going. You know what I'm saying? It did help me figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir, always. Because one thing a lot of people don't know about him is he's mentored like every artist that came out of the state that I know of, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody is like, I'm not. Listen, STOO. I'm very stupid. What is bond? You know what I'm saying? But like that's true. But as far as like, okay, Hip Hop Fest, I always wanted to be a part of it. And you guys was talking about in the cypher about how people just want to be the headline and don't want to do the work. Now, if you really love it, you're excited to pay your dues. I wanted to pay my dues. I wanted to get my butt handed to me. That's what I loved. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even just as far as battling is concerned, I'm going to jump at you faster than anybody else if I know there's no chance in the logical sense that I can beat you. If logically I know I cannot survive, or if logically people think I cannot survive, I'm gonna jump right at that because I know that's my best opportunity to learn more about myself. You know what I'm saying? And knowledge of self,
wow,
that's one of the best things you could ever have. Knowledge of self, knowledge of God, the same thing. What is wrong? So,
it's almost like you saying there's two ways that you win. Like one is the crowd picking you and you having the best performance that moment, but the other way is you learn something as an individual, regardless of how you compare to everybody else. And that reminds me when I was just battling in the hood and then went to the clubs and the venues and stuff. It was like, oh, I know what to do better at this craft that I'm pursuing now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't win that without losing, ironically. So now, so that led you to like get in the favorite showcase. Like, how did you know what the favorite showcase was, first of all?
Well, you was very involved in it. I asked you, like, yo, how do I get involved in this? And you were like, oh, the favorite showcase. I'm like, okay, what's that? And you took a picture of us, and took a selfie of us, and used that as the promo for the favorite showcase. And yeah, like that first loss and that eventual win is the same thing. Because my first knee-shaking experience with the mic in my hand on stage, people looking at me, that's the exact same thing as me winning the favorite showcase. There's no separation there. And just also work on that mental aspect. Because ever since I first got on that outdoor stage and I spit my little piece, I've been telling heads I won that. I just knew I won that. I knew what is mine. I won that. Everyone bear witness. Everyone who knows me, like, yeah, he didn't say that, and then I won. Like, yeah, I won.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear. Yourself. Like, I don't really, you know what I mean? I just host and everything, and then I talk to the judges and everything, and I say like who did it and everything. And especially if I know people, I'm not trying to like put my personal thing, but they was like, yo, that dude, who's that dude? The Blessings dude, like he clearly won, like he had the whole, you know what I'm saying? So like that's a fact. Let me go to Hydro real quick. Hydro.
Yes, sir.
What was your path to the actual, you know what I'm saying, favorite showcase?
My path was going to the festivals for a couple years, experiencing it, soaking it up, running into old friends, old acquaintances, and just being in awe of everything that was going on around me. Like sensory overload. It was amazing. And it honestly is. And I got to be there observing, and then
Okay, Hydro's connection just broke up. I think it was just Hydro's connection, unless it's my connection, in which case this whole thing is down. Okay, I'm seeing
You good, you good.
everybody back.
It's
We
been the
good.
Hydro.
Okay.
I'll
All
be
right, so
back.
Hydro, bring it back. You was wait, hold up, Minister Service,
So-
say that again.
Okay.
Okay.
can hear me?
Okay, we hear you now. We hear you now.
Okay. So for me, it started as
So you was
You know,
going for
being-
years. That was the last
being
thing
at the
I heard.
festival,
Okay.
and then that made me want to be actually there. Like, you know, imagine being an athlete or something, being at a great sporting event, and then you want to be a part of that. So
Word.
naturally, this is what's so hip hop about the event, is that it's not just rap going on, there's dancing, there's and self-suffice is notorious and you know, notorious like B.I.G. So in a good way, notorious for sparking ciphers everywhere, in the cafeteria, in the hallway, while there's a battle, b-boy battle going on. Like, it doesn't matter. Self-suffice is a fire starter, and which was great for me because I'm like, pass me the baton. And that's literally how he would go. He would set off a couple bars and then pass it over, and then it would keep just moving along like a baton. And then
Yo, you
being at the
singing right
festival-
now. I
being at
gotta
the
say,
festival-
what that means so much to me, bro, Sar, because like for people to not understand, I think people will understand this in their own experiences in their own way, but they might not understand how we're going through what they are. So Trinity College is a top like 20 liberal arts college, right? Which means it doesn't mean like there's like any negativity from white students or staff, but it means it's normal that our American expectations are that white people are the main good students and Black and Latino people are like visitors on the campus, to the point where not only is it not welcoming to Black and Latino people by default, again, not like anyone's attacking Black and Latino people, but just normalize. If you only see certain people being in charge and leading all the time, it's just human unconscious condition. And that's what I want people to understand too. A lot of times we have problems talking about racism and dismantling it because it gets into a blame thing, right? And people are like, but I'm a good person and I'm not a bad person. And that's one thing we do in hip hop. Like in hip hop, we say I'm bad. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if you're a good or bad person. The question is there a cipher where we get to each express our perspectives and come out, say whatever we want to? And if you stop the other person from expressing their perspective, you lose. You lose. Whether you're the morally good person or the bad person, whatever, if you have to stop the other person from expressing their perspective, you lost in the way we set this thing up that we do, right, for our culture. So back to this campus, it's just a place where you might be, you know, Trinity is surrounded by one of the highest populations of Black people, Caribbean people, Latino people in America. And yet you wouldn't know that a lot of times from being on the campus. So just to walk on the campus, again, without being greeted, without there being like a normalized way of like appreciating people, you might feel like it's an issue. So what better joy would I have to not only have a day where like we purposely make people feel like everyone belongs there, but be like, we're sparking ciphers. So not only do you feel comfortable walking across the campus like you should every day, But having your voice heard and you saying, yo, I got the skills in this and that, and I'm the illest, like loudly, people hearing your voice, and campus safety and security and the police knowing that that's what you're there for. And this is a celebration of life that is empowering this college campus and the youth and the community to accept diversity and hear different voices and not be scared of that, but to be like, oh yeah, this is what a college campus is. This is a diverse, intellectual, growing place that fosters this creativity. So when you said that I'll be trying to like spark these ciphers all over, like you really hit a deeper purpose of me. It's not to like bring whatever famous person to the campus. You know what I mean? It's to bring the community that should already be connected. You know what I mean? Into feeling like it's our job to welcome each other into the cipher.
Facts. And on that note, whoever's watching, whoever's tuning in, you need to share. You need to promo this. I'm not calling anybody out, but I am. I've been promoting. I'm tagging Trinity. I'm tagging Self. I need to see y'all doing like the same, crazy. Man. This is big. This is a great opportunity for us to have the biggest crowd, to have the biggest reach. When I get off of this, I'm about to charge my phone up. I'm tagging Diddy. I'm tagging everybody. Revolt TV, Versus. You know, you think people on social media don't see when you tag them and stuff, right? Wrong. All of these famous people are very narcissistic. You know, they love to be mentioned. They love to have activity. So use your platform. Your social media page is your platform. I've learned one thing from this 2020. My grandmother passed away, not from COVID. I was happy that she just passed away as a result of life. She lived a long life. And one thing that me and my grandmother shared were long walks. Not because it was fun, because that's how we were going to get there. So me making it to the favorite stage has been a long walk. I grew up on Hillside Avenue, right up the street from Trinity, a short walk, but it was a long walk. And I love it. I love it. Because I know one day I'm going to be on that stage next to Blessing Divine. We're going to be tearing something down. We're going to spark a cipher and bring Self-Suffice on the stage and spark a cipher, and Divine going to start breakdancing. And I'm going to grab his cane and I'm going to break dance too, even though I don't, because that's what you do at the festival. You step out of your comfort zone and you experience it. I was dancing. I was a photographer. Rakim gave me his microphone and I almost took it, but it belonged to DJ Stealth, Lion. So I didn't want to steal his microphone, but if it wasn't Stealth, I would have took that microphone. Rakim gave me the microphone at the end of his performance. Peace God handed me the microphone. I was on stage next to MC Light, and nobody said, "Hey, what are you doing? Get off that stage." You know what they said to me? They said, "Man, you need to holler at us for the future, man, so we can, you know, we can work something out and you can be a photographer and take pictures and videos because you're already doing it." I've gotten checks from Trinity College. Nobody's paid me for my services other than likes, retweets.
Right.
A lot of people don't always support, and it's tough to be an artist, period. I love Trinity College for what they do. Trinity Hip Hop, Temple of Hip Hop, Self-Suffice, Professor Markle, and everyone who
I really want to shout out the students on that note, you know.
The students, yo, listen, and that's the dope thing about the Self is that it's like a rotating door.
Addie.
It's a rotating door.
You know.
It's a rotating door because, you know, you come to college, you put your time in and then you go. But a lot of those people come back and they stay a part of that family. And yo, to see people that's like, I'm 39, I'll be 40 this year. There's kids there that's old enough to be my kids that are helping to put this festival together, that are showing love, that are corresponding. You know, I've never had a more pleasant time booking time to perform than I have with Trinity. We're dealing with the students, no egos, so much love. It's beautiful, man, and I'm just happy to be a part of it in any aspect, in any way. But to be a part of it, to be on that flyer, to be
I'm
able to share
I'm
my
sharing
energy.
these names right now. I want y'all to follow these people. If you could see them on the screen, um, you know, post in the comments if you're on Facebook or YouTube if you can't see it, but you should be able to see it now. I'm gonna just send some shout outs on the note that Hydro's talking about. You know, first and foremost to these students who really, you know, a lot of times they have a full academic schedule as well, and then they're taking on a way uh, more responsibility than people give them credit for in the midst of classes, in the midst of probably people not taking them seriously as students and them having to prove themselves as students, and at the same time bring together the community and the institution and the artists and all these different parts that all feel like they're separate, and the students become the glue between them and work out the conflicts, you know, both emotional and verbal, and then the paperwork and the contracts. And you know, sometimes the funding isn't even set in place until they've already had to like plan out everyone they would get if they had the funding, and then scramble. So with all that being said, I just want to scroll through. I want to let y'all know today this show is all about promoting your last chance. By the way, part of my puppy in the background going crazy. What are you doing, Rosie? Calm down.
That's my baby. Shout out to the dog. That's my baby. That's a beautiful animal.
Yo, Rosie going. Rosie
loves
showing
me.
appreciation. She like,
She
yeah, this festival.
Yeah. Rosie got bars.
Yeah, she on the drums trying to kick the cipher off. Yo, what is mine?
Hey, yo, listen.
Got that
hold
energy,
up real quick. Prayers up for DMX. Now that Rosie jumped in there. That's what Rosie was doing.
Yeah.
Rosie was reminding us.
Absolutely.
She said, get at me, dog.
There you go. And I love the love that I'm seeing all over the place for our brother DMX right now. I love the love I'm seeing. I'm seeing so much.
Absolutely.
Right? Like that's making me so proud. Like I didn't even know what happened with DMX at first. I just knew that I was seeing all this love for DMX in the midst of, not because he won an award or anything, just like people saying love and help to DMX. Girl, I hear you. I hear
all
you.
All kinds of prayers and duas going out to the God. The Lord is bond. DMX is one of our great ones. DMX is one of our great ones, and people have been putting out prayers and duas like since word first got out. So that's a very important thing. So, what up to DMX, man? We really appreciate you, D. You are an inspiration. You've been holding it down and really putting a lot of the spirituality and the love into hip hop culture on the mainstream level. You know what I'm saying? DMX is that dude. There's my baby. Gotta be careful. My wife and I might just come snatch that dog up.
She said a prayer for DMX, huh? She said a prayer for DMX. Love, love, love. See that? See that? The deeper message. Diversity, appreciating those different from you in all forms. So look, y'all. I'm gonna read through this list. Let me share the screen if y'all could see it. So these are people I recommend you follow. Trinity Hip Hop, because every year people ask me like if they could be involved in the festival. Trinity Hip Hop, that is the official IG page for the organization of the Temple of Hip Hop, founded by KRS-One and established with a chapter at Trinity by Z Santiago. And
turn on all post notifications.
You see? For real.
That's what
For real. For real. Because
you gotta stay in tune.
From the time they showing who's involved in it, from the time they showing you know, when Minister Server might be having a master class on aspects of hip hop, that's when it's really time to check in about the festival. You know what I mean? So you already ready. So you could already see how you might be involved and help out with the festival before it happens. You know, it's cool to just enjoy it.
Self, I'm
Mhm.
gonna throw a battle rap seminar next year.
There you go.
Let's do it, yo. What is bomb?
Yo, people really need to understand the history of battle rap, because even I notice a lot of battle rappers today don't even understand. Like, they think it's all about them. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Shout out to
battle rap
Cassidy.
comes from overcoming slavery. Period. That's what it was about. It's about mastering, letting someone be able to say anything crazy about you and know that they do not define you. This was a survival method that our ancestors needed to do to survive slavery and then develop the game of the dozen. So we need people to, as big as it's gotten now, we need people to understand and teach the like the whole culture. Because once you understand that, you understand the dance, you understand there's a certain way we battle in graffiti, you know, that Pop Tart could speak about. Like, every battle in hip hop is not what outsiders to the culture try to portray it as, like just some attacking. Da, da, da. What sport do you know?
Disrespectful.
What sport do you know in basketball, right? If someone try to dunk on you, you stop them. In boxing, some like Hydros of boxing, somebody try to punch you, you stop them. Soccer, every sport you know. In battling, when someone's saying the craziest things about you and attacking you, you know what you do? You let them go. And if you stop them, you lose. It
You lose.
literally teaches you, let people do their thing, and then you do your thing.
I think everyone should
Right,
battle rap.
exactly.
It's great for battle rapping is great for anger management.
Talk.
So many life lessons
I know,
in battle rapping, yo. What is bomb?
let out that aggression.
Talk. And you know, sometimes the B-boys is more aggressive than us MCs. You know what I mean? They be
But you know what's
all kinds of
crazy though?
signs and flipping you to third, but it's the same principle of I'm gonna get it off whatever's on my thing, and I'm gonna let you get off your thing too.
But the aggression
Shout out to
doesn't
B
always
girls.
work in battles as well. Because
True.
there's
True.
been times where I've lost battles being super aggressive and the other person was just clever, man.
Mm-hmm.
Was just hitting with the jokes and stuff like that. But I learned from that. You know,
Right.
a lot of my early battles, I was just going in there like I'm a son of Wu-Tang.
Right.
I'm a Mobb Deep baby, Wu baby, lyrical, slice you, dice you. Like
right.
that was always the part of. I love all hip hop. Don't get it
Word.
twisted. East Coast,
Word.
West Coast, it doesn't matter. But that aggressive, I'm gonna do this to you. And it was always dope to be able to do that creatively.
Right.
To not just say, yo, I'm gonna walk up on you with the gun and lay you down, son. No.
That's like a regular
to be creative with
conversation.
it,
That's
to
not
be that's regular. And some people still stuck on that nowadays, where it's like the aggression and the disrespect.
right.
And then you'll have somebody that'll come and break you down, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need the gun to hit you. You know, I use my words to split you.
Right.
Just being
Right.
creative in that way, and
Right. Because that's literally
KRS.
what you are doing in a battle. You are splitting somebody up and recharging them and killing them and bringing them back to life with your art,
It's
whether
chess
it be the
boxing.
graffiti, the dancing, the DJing. You are attacking someone you are unbridled, getting to let off whatever you feeling without holding back or being politically correct in a way that at the end of the day does not physically harm them. And then you're gonna take that back with that same energy. And sometimes it might not be, I don't need the gun to split you. Sometimes it might be a creative way to talk about the gun, but at the same time, you didn't use the gun. You rapped about using the gun. When the B-boys go like this, the first B-boys, you see them doing all these stab moves because outside the culture, that they're using stab moves. That's violent. No, you don't. A week before, they was literally stabbing each other. And then this culture was developed to let that same energy come out without stabbing. So from outside the culture, you're like, they're demonstrating knives and this. But within the culture, you're like, this is poverty, violence, drugs. And these people found a way to let off and demonstrate that story without actually stabbing you and shooting you. Right?
Bigger than
it's
that.
like, I don't want to get too far into it, but people really need to know to understand where this really comes from. You know,
Bigger than
It's all
that
about that
too.
creativity, and on top of that too, like it's not just aggression. Sometimes people don't have the word to better act, to better talk about it. But it's that activating energy. That's that first atom that sparked and triple darts into
assertive.
space.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Is that
yeah,
activating energy?
yes,
Because without that activating, we
yes,
wouldn't get nothing done.
right.
And the
That's
great
right.
thing about the great things about all battle formats is that different from what happens in the streets when there's aggression, when there's a battle, a confrontation, it usually doesn't end with shaking hands.
No, no,
Hands will shake, but it's not in that way. Hands get to shaking
right.
in a different way. So
Yeah,
you will see the disrespect in these battles. You see the b-boys making people laugh at the other people, and of course you don't. Oh, it feels bad. You feel it. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it's a battle. I just got hit with a dart. I just got hit with a
that's
punch.
right.
Oh, I just got hit. But you know what?
That's
When it's
right.
all said and done, we shake hands. We live to battle another day.
That's one of the things I am kind of sad about, my G. Like this year, there's always people who didn't even know the festival was happening and just end up there. There's like, dozens of hundreds of people that be in the cipher, and like they just end up meeting people because a lot of times you don't realize you're a representative of all your people, and they're representing. So now you shaking hands with this dude that you might think is an op or whatever. But now your people and their people is now cool because it's like, yo, that's my man's that you just battled that. And now you just brought together a whole group of people, right? That usually don't happen in a conflict in the street either. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like you bringing together groups of people like, yo, we respect y'all. Y'all did your thing. We'll see you at the next one. You know what I'm saying?
There's no
In the old
ops.
tradition too. In that old tradition too, when you lose a battle, the winner teaches you something. That's an old hip hop tradition as well. People, tend to forget about that part. You get your butt whooped. Well, guess what? Well, here's how you do this, this, and that. You better be practicing. I'll check you next week, son.
You learning. You learning.
Step your dark.
Shout out to KRS-One, yo. KRS-One is like, if you ever want to learn, like we said, KRS-One founded the Temple of Hip Hop. Like he's the best person to speak about this. You know what I mean? Minister Service speaks about this. If you don't know soundmindshiphop.com, that a lot of y'all watching right now, if you didn't know what channel this is coming from, we do a podcast. In the last episode, we had Curtis Blow. Okay. Curtis Blow founded a number of years ago the Hip Hop Church. So you got KRS-One founding the Temple of Hip Hop. You got Curtis Blow founding the Hip Hop Church. And it's like these brothers realized that so many people was taking the culture and not realizing how powerful it was. They literally was like, let's make it clear. Temple of Hip Hop. Let's teach people what this is actually at the end of the day. Church of Hip Hop. Let's teach people what this is actually. And if you listen, like I'm just plugging the podcast right now, obviously, but it's for a very particular reason at this point in the conversation. Curtis Blow had just a series, and we actually interviewed him on Easter Sunday, like the resurrection. He died for 5 minutes clinically in the hospital. Yes. You know what I mean? And he had a series of these like deaths and near-death experiences where he came back, right? And it's like, this is the type of cloth that created the culture we're talking about. So no, it's not just a style of dress that comes in the spring and goes. It's not just a style of music. It's something much deeper. And that's the one thing I'm sad about. On the virtual festival, I don't know how many people is gonna come with their energy and aggression, and then like kind of like be like, oh, I actually respect this person. Oh, this makes me want to do better. So I can't wait till we come back next festival. But that being said, let me ask both of y'all. So now, Hydro, you now finally got into, right? You was participating, you was in the ciphers, you wasn't, you know what I mean? You was interested in performing at the festival, but you was no slacker in terms of just being in the ciphers, being how can I help, photos, videos, getting recognized by some of the pioneers, like all angles. But now you're in the favorite. So what was that experience for you like? You know what I mean? Because you could have easily been like, nah, son, I'm not doing this year. Like, it's virtual, but you stepped up. So what was your perspective on that? And then Blessings, I want to get back to you on what was your perspective after winning the favorites and leading up to this. But let me go to Hydro first. So like, what was it like? Like, what really led you to still be involved this year in the favorite showcase?
Hip hop. That's as plain as I can put it. Hip hop led me to be a part of it. You know, the regrets of not being a part of it for so many years due to not knowing what was going on, you know, living in my own bubble, in my own world, you know, and then being there and then missing it so much last year, you know, it was like sad. And I missed the festival as well before, just family things going on. So there was no way, you know, I wasn't going to be a part of it some way, somehow. And honestly, my intentions was just to be a part of it how I've been in the past, which is just supporting it, retweeting, reposting, and registering and attending virtually and showing my support that way. The universe works in a certain way, and when you work and you reach out, it works with you and reaches back out to you. And this year has been like that for me. And different moments and times, I lean on hip hop really heavily, like a friend, you know, that's always there for me. I can always grab my pen. I can always grab my pad. Yes, I still write in a notebook. I like to take notes in my phone, but I love to write. So I'm on Instagram and I'm seeing posts about the hip hop festival. And I'm like, what? Virtual? Oh, that's dope, man. Like because so many people are adjusting to this time. And so I'm like, oh, I know this is going to be crazy because Trinity always goes above and beyond, from the staff to the students to the artists.
Shout out to Carol Correa. As you saying that, shout out to Carol Correa, Multicultural Affairs Office. Like, I don't think a lot of people mention or realize, like, we probably wouldn't have a festival today if it wasn't for her. Like, there's been so many times where it was about to get shut down or something, and she just behind the scenes, without taking credit, was like, nope, they're doing this. This is important. Da da da. Let them go an extra hour. Da da da. Like, that's my heart right there. That's my heart. We love you, Carol, so much. Thank you for being there in the Multicultural Office with Carlos Spurlock Evans, who just retired. Like, Carol, this is you. You know what I mean? Carol is also the one that really brought the Iron Poets, founded by Olu Sanya, right? They brought the Iron Poets. And shout out to Sadeja, because I don't know if we could get her on the call. I'm gonna send her a text. But she's the poet holding it down for this year. But like, Carol, man,
I got to perform at an Iron Poet. That's the
I remember that.
Because, you know, that's another thing about the Trinity Hip Hop Festival. Like, you got to earn your way to that favorite stage. You got to earn your way to that main stage. But you know what? They don't make you earn your way the way the industry and the way other people make you earn your way, with all these fake accolades and how popular you are and all that. No, you actually earn it right there at the festival. Oh, I seen him last year. Like, I seen Blessing Divine dancing and just everywhere, at the seminars, at the battles, at the poetry slams, at everything. And that's how I got to know him. And then from dancing, then he's in the MC ciphers. So I got to do that too. I got to jump in a little dance for 3 or 4 or 5 seconds real quick and then get out of there before I pour something or hurt something. But then I'm a writer, I'm a poet. Like, that's how I started this.
Yo, so I feel like you giving advice to young artists in general. I just want to footnote what you're saying. Like, if you want to be on a radio show, a podcast, anything you do, you should be recognized by those people. You know what I mean? Because when you're on a platform and a lot of people want to be in that platform, if there's a critical mass of people who can be like, oh, I seen you in the comments, I seen you in the ciphers, I seen you they appreciate that you belong there. But if you never been there and then you're like, oh, they won't put me on. I'm not talking about this particular thing. I'm saying this is how I see everything work. Like, whether it's a magazine, It doesn't make sense to not have any involvement with something and then be mad that you're not there, because that's one step away from actually being an enemy of the thing. Like imagine you hate the thing and you always trying to destroy it, right?
Yep.
And we don't know, but that's what you're doing. How would we know if you're that dude versus the dude that like just doesn't get a chance to be on? And now I come on your show or your dance floor and I'm like, yeah, I hate everything about you. Da, da, da. Like it takes time, energy, money. People got families to take care of. People got bills to pay. People got, even within organizations, people arguing with each other about how to do it. And then they're giving you that platform, right? Just for you to be like, yeah, let me take that platform and F y'all. You know what I mean? Like, where does that work in life? It doesn't work anywhere. So like, I feel like the favorite showcase is like a demonstration of that argument right there. It's like, okay, what if it was less white supremacy in the world? What if it was less racism where everyone did have a chance? Would you step in and like show and prove? Or would you still? And what you find is that doesn't solve the issue completely, right? There's certain people like yourselves, and shout out to Protege, Sick, you know what I mean? One of the first favorites. Shout out to Marvelous. I think he was the favorite. Sick MC. You know what I mean?
Willie.
They all epitomize exactly what we're talking about. They didn't have to get in a favorite showcase of Cypher. They was already known. They was already known as nasty MCs. But they was like, oh, let me show. Yeah, like I'm doing my part in this. These kids is doing their part. These pioneers is doing their part. Let me do my part. And lo and behold, boom, you won a showcase, and now you might get a check. You might be on stage. But like most importantly, you showed I'm part of this community. I'm on your side. I'm trying to do my part.
I literally hit up Trinity Hip Hop and Self Suffice and was like, yo, this is dope. They were doing something where they wanted to do a cipher online on Zoom. And I was like, yo, that's fly. I done did so many in-person ciphers. I'm definitely jumping in the digital cipher. And then my phone connection wasn't good. My music wasn't working. So what did I do? I improvised off the top, baby. I spitting, doing my thing, right? So I'm just thinking, this is just a freestyle. I'm just going to do what I do what I love, give it up for the people, give it up for the culture, give it up for Trinity. And then I got off that Zoom call and that was that. Next thing I know, they hit me up and said, man, they want you to be in the favorites.
Yo, dude was dope though. What on?
Imagine this was my reaction. This was my reaction off a Zoom call, baby. But everything, like I said, it was a long walk. And that Zoom call, I could have said, nah, Self, I'm good. I don't want to do that, man. Like, I'm straight. I'm busy. I got work. You know, I'm a truck driver. I ride thousands of miles a week. I'm out here while y'all sleeping. I'm delivering the packages to the world, you know, coming up with bars on the road.
And shooting bars on the road on your IG, by the way. And shooting bars on the road. What?
Videos, editing.
Yo, salute to Ra. Salute to King Ra in the chat. Thank you for helping do the technical difficulties on this call, man, making sure this happened.
That's just
and little did anyone know. We said it's a virtual cipher for the festival. If you're an MC, you enjoying the cipher, it's a virtual cipher. We didn't say nothing about this might be it was just a virtual cipher. Little did anyone know, lo and behold, cats that was representing in a virtual cipher that just decided to jump on ended up being chosen to be in the favorite showcase this year, because this is the first year where we can't just let people walk in. There's no place to walk in. So who walked in? People that just chose to cipher. People chose to be in a cipher. And it was advertised on where? The Trinity Hip Hop IG page. So if you're not following Trinity Hip Hop IG, like, it's there. Follow the Trinity Hip Hop IG. Like, don't get mad at, you know what I'm saying? Like,
in hip hop.
So yo, let me just you started the appreciation. Let me follow through and show this on the screen. So you should be following Trinity Hip Hop Okay, if you support all this crazy stuff we talking about and want to know more about it, definitely send a salute to Prof Marco.
Follow Self-Suffice.
He's already
Poet.
super. Huh? What'd you say?
I said follow the rap poet Self-Suffice.
Follow Hydro 860. Follow Blessed Divine MC. But like Prof Marco, PROF Marco, just send him an act. You know what I mean? Send him an act. Like, he got enough on his plate. He probably don't want to be bothered about things. Like, this is a black man in an institution running programs, getting tenure. Like, he's doing a lot of things that are not hard to do. Like, the percent rate of people doing what this brother's accomplishing is super improbable. So just respect, please show that brother some love if you can.
And looking damn great while he does it.
Facts. And he used to rap, you know what I mean? In the lunch tables, he was battle rapping, he was spoken word. So he's from the culture, he do the culture. You know, support that brother, send him love. That's Nita. First time I met her before she was in Temple was at the end of the favorite showcase. She grabbed the mic and started singing. And she sang something beautiful and empowering. And just from that cave patio, it just lit up the whole center of the camp. I was like, oh, who are you? So that's Nita, you know, with a Z. That's Nita with a Z. Addie Swaggin's the lead organizer of the year. Yo, this is like, Addie is like, you know how you see a young person and you be like, okay, she running for president. Like, she gonna be the president. That's Addie right there. Like, she gonna be president. You know what I mean? She just got her stuff together and the right reasons and empowers other people along with her. And she's one of the reasons, along with Nita, that like this year I feel like the whole Temple organization just had a feeling of love. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we talk about all organizations always have debates and fighting within them and stuff like that. But you know, I love this energy that they brought. You know, I want to salute y'all for that. You showed leadership above and beyond what people 10, 20, 30 times your age is showing. Like, you made everybody feel like they was part of something. And I really want to treasure you for that and honor you for that and give you respect too. Also, Nima, you know, NEEM.A, Nima, dope energy. Also on the Trinity page, you could go and see they did like this funny video where you can see all their personalities. You know what I mean? Mercy, UKNO, you know, that's Mercy.
You know.
Hendrick.xio, also on the page. Tansy, right? Tansy _ Tansy with the Y _ Tansy with the I. She was one of my coordinators as well. Your friend Evan, yo, you are friend Evan. This dude, when I tell you, when you talk about the next generation, he played a beat that to me sounded like a Souls of Mischief joint. And if y'all didn't go, check out my interview with A+ from Hieroglyphics. He in the Constellation 2, Souls of Mischief, my favorite album of all time, 93 Till Infinity. A lot of people didn't know A+ produced that track and the title of the joint. But yo, your friend Evan, like, he produced something like where A+, I was like, yo, this young man right here got his pulse on the culture. So definitely looking forward to the producer showcase. Your friend Evan, and Ben Greens with the ES at the end. Irene Fernandez, you know what I mean, putting the social coordinations together. And of course, let's get into some of the features. D Smoke. Y'all know who D Smoke is? Do y'all know who D Smoke is?
Smoke.
Yes, sir. Was watching the show with Cardi B, Snoop Dogg, and I believe Chance the Rapper. What's happening right now? Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. There it is.
Birthday selfie. Happy born day to you.
Yeah, what the
That's love. That's hip hop right there. That's the queen. Degree? Peace to my brother.
He said to shake it. Wow. Okay.
Happy born day, Lord.
Degree, man?
What's your physical degree? 42, 43?
The cultural wisdom. What it is? What it is?
Damn.
He timeless.
Hmm.
That's a queen right there. You're a lucky
Monarch of
man.
Earth.
The
Peace to
present
the queen.
is
Peace to the queen.
a gift. Oh, she started digging it before me. Hold up. Let me blow out the candle. Let me make my wish. Yo, you know what
Hey,
my
so
wish
I'll
is?
be at the crib in a second, bro. I'm gonna be at your crib. I'm gonna give me a slice. I know where you live, man. I'm gonna be right there. Where am I?
I got a candle
I'll
lit
be
for
right
you,
there.
bro.
I'm gonna tell you the
I got
wish
a
I
candle
just
lit.
made, right? The wish I just made is one that I always remain as grateful for every moment as I am in this moment. Because whether you earning or you're learning, it's always a gift in the present moment. Secondly, my main birthday wish, I just want to help 5 more artists see that they could earn a living without an employer.
I'm one. So 4 more, because I'm one.
Four more.
4
My
more. I'm
brother
already
Hydro
signed.
right here and form. Oh my
Send
God.
me the Cash App. Send me the Cash App link. I got you.
You already on the pre-register, and that's what I'm talking about. Like that's as we talking about the favorite story. Like you did the same thing with Make It Full Time. Like you got on the early registration list. You know what I'm saying? So it's
You know
just
what? When we done
showing
with
up.
this class, when we done with this class of Make It Full Time, I'm gonna go out and step out and sponsor someone for the next class. You know what I mean? That's how we do.
Right
Each one
there.
teach one. Each one teach one. Peace to the gods. Peace to the 5% nation. Knowledge is self.
True indeed.
You add
True
on.
indeed, God.
You add on to the cipher. You add on to the cipher.
Yo,
Gotta add on.
And it's nothing but love, man. It really is nothing but love at the end of the day. What my cake tastes like?
pardon the
Dude, stay
left.
smiling at me. Dude, stay smiling at me.
Pardon the left.
Saying nothing.
All I want for my birthday. All I want for my birthday
Oh my
is some
God.
cake.
Oh my goodness.
I do gotta
They
be out
got
in
like a
5
slice
minutes.
Why you
of
gonna
lemon
do
in
this,
here
man?
too.
You just eating in front of.
Oh, I'm
Yo.
gonna give you a
Oh,
slice of
man.
lemon.
This disrespectful. It's disrespectful to be on the podcast.
Disrespectful.
Baby, I
Put my
love you
slice
so
up,
much.
yo. Put
Thank
my
you.
slice up.
Oh wow, my mom.
Hey, tell Alicia Keys. Yo, tell Alicia Keys twin to put my slice up, man.
Yo, Sasha.
Tell Alicia doppelganger.
He said
Tell Alicia's
he's still
doppelganger.
Alicia Keys doppelganger.
Her stunt double.
Yo, it's funny when that last Grammy performance when she came out with the head wrap, her mom
I was
called
like, yo,
me.
that's
My
up.
stepmom called me and was like, "Is my daughter on the getting the Grammy?" Because she looked exactly
I'm telling
like
you,
her on that
hey,
joint.
rest in peace to MF Doom. But if Alicia ever needs someone to hop on that stage and come out, man, there it is.
Yo, my mom just blew up my whole
God.
spot. My mom.
Look just like a son.
Yo, shout out to Sound Moms. Yo, Sound
Shout out
Moms
to
just
Sound
blew up my
Moms.
whole spot. You heard me?
Oh man, not
Yo, I
the
don't
baby.
care. I don't care.
That's the
I love
picture.
you, mom.
That's the school pic in front of the bookcase. Look, you was getting knowledge early, man. You was hitting the books
What
early.
is
The
mom?
bookcase poster.
That's the album cover
Yeah,
right there, bro.
But yo, I do
That's
gotta
the
be
album
out
cover
in
Giving
right
me an
there,
5
bro.
idea
minutes
for
though.
real.
All right,
Yeah, featuring Mom
I
Dukes.
gotta be out in like 5 minutes.
You gotta tell
All
Mom
right, yo.
Dukes. You gotta tell Mom Dukes
So let
to
me
get
say
on that.
this. That's my actual wish. You know what I mean? And I'm not even mad at this bright light in my face this whole time
It
because
looks dope, man. It looks
it's
dope,
New
man. I'm
England.
screenshotting.
Appreciate that. Because it's winter, it's New England. It's been like soggy and rainy, and like to have on my birthday this much bright light, like I might actually go outside in a second. You know what I mean? But like
You, bro. I'm out here
we
right now. Look, I'm
podcast
out
until 6:30. Hopefully, we're gonna get a lot more of the favorites and people involved in the showcase or what have you. But like, yo, my wish is to help 5 more artists, including Hydro, who will go on to sponsor others. You know, I got to see the moment where Blessing Divine, I have it recorded on tape, say, I quit my job yesterday. I got to see the moment where Sarah said, I just gave my employer 2 weeks notice. I got to see the moment where Yo said, I work 1 job now instead of 3. and now I'm in the top 20 in the DMV area, top 20 listed photographers in their local
Let's go.
magazine of the DMV
Let's
area,
go.
Baltimore. That's
Let's
crazy.
go.
And
That's
on
a
and
love
on,
rise.
like, you know what I mean? LG Nia, I got to see her say, I just got my first $1,000 doing what I do. You know what I mean? And realizing if I could do it for other people, I could do it. So it's like, I just want to do that for 5 more people, for 4 more people, including Hydro. But I want to do that for 5 more people. That's my wish. You know what I mean? If I could do that in the next 3 months, and see people saying that, like, I just did this, you know. And mind you, if you could still keep a day job or you still have an employer or whatever, that's up to you. Because a lot of people get it construed like I'm against jobs or something like that. I'm not. I'm against people being forced to jobs or not knowing they have other options. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's all kinds of things where you could work with and for other people if you choose to. I just want it to be a choice. I want to show 5 more people like it's a choice. You can use your other gifts to become your own business. So that's my wish. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have a particular personality. You don't gotta have a certain kind of energy. If you notice, just on this lineup, I am very laid back. These two were over there having verbal football, going back and forth all across the court. I'm just sitting here watching. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when I got my first $500 check to rock a show. You know what I'm saying? So you can definitely do it. Ain't nothing that you cannot do if you understand that you can do it.
Talk.
I want to say that again, I'm about to check off and sign out. Love y'all. Thank you to Trinity International Hip Hop Festival, the 15th annual.
Yes,
my name is Hydro. I'm coming with bars. I'm coming with a lot of energy. Hit the link. It's in my bio. It's in Trinity Hip Hop's bio. And please register. You will not see another show like this ever again. This is going to be major. It's going to be dope. Thank you, Self. I love you. Happy Born Day. Blessings, divine. Peace, Lord. And to everyone out there in the Matrix world, plug in because we about to go all the way up. Peace.
Thank you, brother.
Peace.
Love.
Hydro's always been a very big supporter. Always been a big supporter to support him because he's been supporting everybody else from A1 Day 1.
And y'all, if you haven't signed up yet, sign up right now. The link is in the bio. It's free. Go sign up. The link is in the bio. I'm about to show you some of what's happening in the bio. Bless, do you want to say anything about the Yeah, actually, let me let you finish. So I'm gonna do some more shout outs. You know, D Smoke, Brittany Carter, Baba Luku, Moti Lunas, Blessing Divine, Vekhead. You know, in the favorites section, we had Chesky Ramos, Stratch, Williano, Aramis, the Baha'i Bull, Do Me Right, Hydro 860, Universal Madness, Danny. Hopefully we'll be hearing from some of them later. We had a lot of partners who have made this possible as well by mentoring and working alongside with the students, like Minister Server, who you saw earlier, Sage Seeker, Jasmine, that's my star, Grand Wizard, you know, that's G Wiz, the DJ, producer, showcase, really leadership. 860 Pop Tart definitely running the B-Boy showcase and making us proud in that regard. Because he's like one of the illest B-boys in the world himself, you know what I mean? So it's dope to see him like taking that and making a way for others. Stealth Lion, you know, DJ, you may have seen him as my DJ several times. I love that brother. We just did a project with the Lost Tribe. Shout out to Jocelyn Pleasant. Love that brother too. Files Davis, another great dude, you know what I'm saying? Amazing DJ, DMC competitor. Aries, you know, you should be following her. She's one of the top muralists in the area and just someone who really understands graffiti and is very empowering to the sisters of the area in general and the art world in general. World Hip Hop, that's my brother Greg Schick, biggest hip hop collection. He took it upon himself to begin selling international artists and trading international artists like many of us trade crypto. He would trade the value of international artists before NFTs, collecting cassettes and vinyls and CDs. and putting his last dime in it when nobody was really supporting it. So shout out to him. You know, this is really before you know, international music and hip hop was really considered cool. Nivea, who was definitely running uh, around making sure videos was good for this virtual event, wouldn't have been possible without her. Blessing Divine nodding his head because you know she was there, she held it down. She had a lot of editing to do, and on short time schedules, and we didn't make it too easy on her. You know, it was definitely difficult. So we love you for that, sister. You pulled through. Definitely shout out to McGee, the founder of the International Hip Hop Festival, and you know, working alongside with his partners Chris and Jason. Love to y'all for that. And I actually posted on my page one of the first shows he ever did, which was called the Underground African Hip Hop Show, which I like to call International Hip Hop Festival Zero. You know what I mean? Like that was the brainchild, and then from then it became this whole thing the next year. So shout out to Z Santiago. I mentioned already that he was the student who collaborated between Trinity to and the Temple of Hip Hop to bring this chapter that now has overseen the festival ever since, so that it did not die out. Love you, brother. Shout out to Nomadic Wax, which has worked with Greg and McGee and so many other artists. Boo, my brother Macau. They've kind of been in between running and performing and doing this thing. So that Trinity always had like a professional arm involved for years. And shout out to Let's Go Arts. You should definitely, if you're in the Connecticut area, you should be following Let's Go Arts. Shout out to Sedasia. Shout out to Amanda. Shout out to everybody at the Greater Hartford Arts Council, continuing to support us and see the vision and understand what this is really about. And yeah, you know, the link is right there, trinityhiphopfest.afterparty.live/register. This is a new company we're working with, the Afterparty.live company. They executive produced the festival and made it possible for us to even have a virtual event this year. So we definitely want to appreciate them for that. And of course, Professor Markle for even making a connection and finding a way for us to have a professional platform in the midst of COVID, when we're not even allowed to have guests go on the campus of Trinity College. So with that being said, we heard about the young Blessings Divine breakdancing, breaking knees, coming back, winning battles with the cane, coming back, jumping in the MC cipher, then seeing the favorite showcase. How do I do that? Stepping in the battle ciphers and at first and feeling like, okay, you know, adrenaline rushing. This is serious, you know, and making a decision to like really be one of those cats that brings honor to the pioneers of hip hop. And part of me, while I enjoy my birthday cake, but Blessings, from that point, you jumped in the favorite showcase. It was unanimous. I think you pretty much knew that you won that year, but that was 2 years ago now. So after you won and you knew you won, tell me what was your experience and thoughts about that following year. Because like when you win a showcase, like whoever wins the favorites this year in 21, they are the 2022 favorite, right? So you are the year 2020 favorite, and then continue into the 2021 favorite, which you are now, which headlines the showcase and opens up the whole show. So whoever wins now is going to be the 2022 favorite. But as the 2020 favorite, the festival was canceled in 2020. So what did you think about your title and your winning and just the festival after you won and then found out that the festival was canceled last year?
I've been getting apologies from people from all over. I still get apologies, you know, I'm sorry, man. I know it's a big break, bless, blah, 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 Big Daddy Kane, big deal. Yeah, I still get people apologizing. I still get condolences. But it didn't bother me too much. I never got into hip hop to you know, for the accolades or for the, you know, for the props. Really, I came here on a mission to help resurrect my people. That was that. So, and it was interesting. So it was very interesting just how because you just had that cipher that was going on. And I was just there, and it was a lot of fun. We just kicked it. Yeah. So going to 2021 is still very interesting because this is a whole virtual thing. But
You
like,
talking about when I did like the little online cipher in 2020? Just yeah, I remember that. I did. We went on IG or something like that, and we had like a little cipher. Shout out to everybody that jumped on that cipher.
and shout
I
out
definitely
to
want to
me for
say
being the tech tester because I'm always the dude who's like, we're doing something for the first time. The text will be scratchy. Let's get blessings. I'm like, bet I'll be the tech stunt guy. I'll look a fool. I'll look a fool for everybody else so we can get it right. Out of love, of course.
right, definitely. Okay, so now you jumped in, you did what you could do for that. You wasn't bitter about it. I mean, we was all a little bit sad. So then that brought you through 2020. And then what was your thoughts on this year, starting from like January? Did you think we was even going to have a festival, being that, the pandemic stretched out? Or what was your thoughts on the festival this year?
I'm gonna speak on this one, and I'm gonna build a little bit, and I gotta be out. I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. I know Heads was talking about 2021 last year, but looking at the state of the world, I'm like, I don't know, we gonna see. But like I said, I'm into emceeing for the resurrection of the people to help get that life journey going, to help get their thoughts going, help get the slavery out of our people, and help people start really connecting with their higher self and their higher power. So since that's always been my motivation as the MC, that's always been first and foremost. Anything else is just like that's extra. So I ain't get my ice cream at the dinner. I'm all right. I got the food. And that's just kind of my attitude as an MC.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for always first and foremost asking, what can I do in this situation? What in the book of life, Akashic records, the annals of history, what when people talk about this day, right, in the future, and they say Blessings Divine was there, it seems like you always have that question, like, what will people say happened because I'm part of it? And I think far too many people, they just say, what am I getting out of this moment? And not realize when history looks back at the moment, you were there. And they're not going to say, what did this college do, or this festival, or this organization, or these people do? It's going to say, what did this do while that person was there? Right? Because it's no longer just the college. It's the college when you were there. It's no longer the festival. It's the festival when you were there. It's no longer the organization. It's the organization when you were there. Right? So once we are present in a situation, we have to become part of the gift that we give to the future. And that's why your name is Blessings Divine. You live that, you represent that in a humble way. And I'm looking forward to seeing you continue to shine your journey. And thank you for showing the bridge between the cipher that anyone could walk up to, aka the favorite showcase, and that headline showcase that is reserved for only a few battle tested, artists who can take the criticism and take the haters and shine and be an example. So that's you this year. You deserve it. You waited an extra year for this. Looking forward to seeing you perform, brother.
If I could drop one last thing before I'm out real quick.
Go ahead, of course.
Well, first off, just to add on to that last part, I'm very happy it happened to me, not someone else, because that could have crushed a lot of people. As far as winning something to be with a legend, to rub elbows with legends. I seen about him, I seen Talib, but I never got to meet. I ain't get to be on stage next to You know what I'm saying? But to have that happen and not to then have it snatched away from you, that could have crushed a lot of people. It didn't crush me, so I'm very grateful that happened. That was me. And on top of that, I just want to say I'm very grateful to represent the brand new paradigm. You know what I'm saying? Quick thinking, fast moving, right down to the amount of times. I'm clean. You know what I'm saying? Everything's, you know what I'm saying? People, I don't look it right now, but when I'm on stage, anything I'm out in the public, I got me a suit and tie. You know what I'm saying? I'm clean looking. People remember me for years back, like people from New York, all over the place. I remember that dude. He's always dancing in the suit. He raps in the suit. I be in the spot with my Final Call newspaper. You know
how many times? You know how many times I was hot because I had a T-shirt on and looked over at you, and you had a black 3-piece suit with a tie, and my neck felt tight and my skin felt hot because I was like, just from the sympathy, just you know what I mean, just like being next to you, I'm like, damn, I feel uncomfortable for you, and you out there dancing in the
And
suit,
not even sweating.
you rocking
Not even sweating.
not sweat, and that's what was crazy though, because I remember you know me, like I just say things, I'm a fool like that,
You
and
be
I
just like
checked you
all
up
the
on it. I was
time.
like,
You
yo,
be
what's up?
sweating.
Yeah, and you was
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm not sweating. I was like, okay, this dude has mastered some spiritual martial arts, like he controls his breathing, like I'm the one that needs to
Breathing,
take
it's the
notes.
thought, it's the diet. You know what I'm saying? How to Eat to Live by Elijah Muhammad. Read that book. What is on? Read that book. Start applying whatever you can that's of that higher power. Right there. But there's that new paradigm. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Because I get in front of the people when I look clean, I dress up. Why? Because I'm important. Well, I'm extremely important, but so are you. You deserve to have a nice, clean young man in a suit and a bow tie walk up to you and tell you how much he appreciates you. You deserve that.
Wow.
You deserve that.
Yo, it's
You
funny.
deserve that.
There was a elder sister at the coffee shop earlier today when I stopped by, and you know, she was passing me my stuff, and I just said, you know, I leaned in and I said, thank you, man. And it was like I had that feeling that you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like so many people are so disrespectful and rude and don't care about those who have come before us. And sometimes just presenting yourself, you know, with manners is it's more profound than any intellectual thing you could say, right? It's just
It's
like
a game
the
changer.
basic grace and courtesy that they deserve to feel like they're protected and they're safe and that they've earned that and somebody knows that.
It's a game changer. You gotta treat people with
Word.
the utmost amount of respect. Every person you come in contact with, even with an oppression increase, treat that individual like they are the most important person on planet Earth. Because by their perspective, they are. They may not treat themselves that way, but they are. And by treating them a certain kind of way, they can start treating themselves better. You know what I'm saying? And one last thing is too, I don't even curse conversationally. All my music is clean. No curse words. Everything's uplifting. Everything's about actual facts in real life. You know what I'm saying? Everything. You can ask my wife, you ask anybody. No one's ever heard me curse. You know what I'm saying? So it's all
You
about the
know, I didn't
paradigm
know
and
that
present for
Rakim
our
never
babies.
cursed until somebody told me that.
Yeah, he very rarely has
Like
ever cursed
some
on track.
MCs are so dope. You don't. It's not like you. It's just like you so much into what they saying in the gems they drop them. You don't even realize like, oh wow, that takes a lot of talent. Because the
Yeah.
average person, even in speaking regular conversations, is just cursing left and right because they don't have the verbal dexterity to come up with something that gets directly to the point and emotionally. Because it's hard to convey the emotion of the point without hip hop or musical dance or something in regular conversation. And rap is the closest to regular conversation out of the elements. So, like, to be able to convey emotion and the point without cursing, that's not easy.
Nah, it is. You just gotta let it be easy. You just gotta let it be easy. It's all about how you think about it.
Oh,
But
you just flipped it on me. I heard you. I heard you. I
I
heard
just
you.
want to say I greatly appreciate y'all. I greatly appreciate this platform. I'm gonna be checking in all throughout. I'm gonna be promoting. I'm gonna be going on doing my own lives on Instagram, talking about the importance of hip hop, what hip hop really is in its essence. Because a lot of people don't know how big hip hop is. Hip
Thank
hop
you.
is a complete
So
culture.
far,
Hip hop.
Hydro's winning. Like when I logged on today, I saw mad posts from everyone saying happy birthday to me, and then I see mad posts from Hydro shouting out the festival. So you got your work cut out from you. If you're gonna do some posts, start now.
Oh,
Tag
see,
people. Now
nah,
I
I don't.
tagged everyone in my last post. I tagged everyone who's involved, but well, not in all of the performers, but I tagged all like the organizers and the parts of the part I'm hosting, the favorites and the partners. So like that's a good head start. If you go to mine, make sure you include those tags. Make sure you include that link so people can
I
definitely
certainly
know
will.
it's free to register. And let's see, you know, if we could only fit 2,000 people in a room, let's spread it out this year and get 2001. Let's get 4,000. Like that's the flip side of this whole thing. We can include more people,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly. See, this whole social media thing, this whole video interface thing, that eliminates time and space where I can see my good brother Mike on the other end, who I ain't trying to sit here like I'm ignoring him. You know what I'm saying? I can see that beautiful face right over there saluting at me. He's somewhere where he at. I'm on a different side of the planet somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Time and space illuminated right there. You know what I'm saying? But with that, thank y'all so much, family. I really appreciate y'all. Blessings, Devon. Yeah, just follow me because Kanye taught me to plug before I be out because I never plug. But follow me on Instagram at Blessings Devon MC. Also follow me at SAMAD Gardens Initiative. Samad Gardens Initiative. Me and my wife teach people how to grow food from top to bottom because food is very, very, very important. Everything stems from that earth. You know what I'm saying? So cultivating that earth, growing the plants, and that's another thing too. I'm a rapper, I'm a b-boy, I'm a graffiti writer, I'm a martial artist. Hip hop has its own martial art. I'm also a farmer.
Congratulations on joining the husband gang, and shout out to Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yo, you were the first people to know.
Stage.
Yes, sir.
I see you on the
Thank y'all very
stage.
much.
Love,
Peace,
King.
Mike. God bless y'all. I'll get out of this. Oh, here it is.
So as you go and scroll up on the flyer on your screen now, you will see it's that Bahayable. And the reason for that is our next guest on the Sound Minds Podcast Special Edition, International Hip Hop Festival 15th. Free link in the bio now, all weekend long. Spread the word. Join up if you haven't already. What you waiting for? Shout out to Sound Minds. Shout out to Sound Moms too. We have my brother, the Bahayable. And it's funny, as soon as you came into the green screen, the backstage, Blessings was talking about, having love for all different people and, incorporating people and how we treat people. And that's the energy I always got from you. So how alignment was it to see you when it was your turn to slip in the green room as he was ending on that note? So first of all, I want to say, I'm gonna talk to you about that in a second, okay? Because you gonna get a little bit of time to talk about a few things. But before we talk about that, before we talk about the first the favorite showcase and everything like that, how are you feeling about just the festival this year, my G? Just in general, how are you feeling about the festival this year and the pandemic still going?
Yeah. I mean, the fest was set to hit just like 2 weeks after the pandemic hit last year. So obviously that really wasn't enough time to recover and pivot. But yeah, I mean, you're starting to hit the nail on the head just with everything that we've experienced in this country and in our neighborhoods and communities across this country in the last year and couple weeks. Like, I just think that the festival is more necessary than ever. And as I mentioned in one of my posts on the gram about it, just like the Trinity Fest is really about the history and the intersection of social justice movements on this planet and hip hop culture. And they're really interlinked. They're inextricably interlinked. So I think there's no better time. Every fest has been extremely impactful and legendary in its own right, but I think it's more necessary now than ever.
So just so people understand who's saying that, because it's like with Blessing. Pardon me, I'm having my birthday dinner that my wife brought me all this beautiful victuals, nutritionals.
Happy birthday, brother. I didn't know. That's beautiful.
Thank you. But Blessings was like, no matter what, there's no excuses, like persist and get through the challenges. And it's like, well, some people say that, and it's like, okay, that's great advice. But some people say that, and it's like, oh, you really exemplified that. So I told him to speak about the fact that, like his knees give out and stuff, and he actually goes hard on the dance floor. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Shout out to my brother Party Pat too. Tyler, known in this area, always been in the ciphers. I think he had a surgery on his knee, like had cartilage or something crazy, and he be doing moves that like a perfectly like unsurgeried, unbothered person could not do and would be scared to attempt. You know what I'm saying? And he still gets down and competes and wins. So shout out to people like that. But what you talking about, why this festival is important, and especially in this time and connecting people and some of its deeper meanings that people don't see behind the outward expression. Tell us a little bit about the work you do and the studies you do, so people actually know your background and what you're committed to. Just for a minute, please.
Yeah, right on. My life has been primarily dedicated to youth development work, for one. So I've worked in the classroom in many different settings, mostly on the East Coast of the United States, but also abroad a bit in low-income communities in Mexico, DR, and India. But yeah, so just youth development work, working to empower youth, especially children growing up in low-income communities in the United States and low-income communities of color. So the South Bronx was my first work in New York City and in several schools there. And then after my youth work, and I honestly got a little burnt out from being on the ground and on the working with students every day. And so that's an enormous shout out to all of the educators in our communities, yourself included, suffice,
Right.
Because it is deeply, deeply impactful and all encompassing work that involves your spirit. It involves
Right,
it's spiritual, it's physical, it's emotional, and you're doing so much. You put your whole life into it as an educator. So huge shout to everyone doing that work. And then so I transitioned from that to essentially a community organizing approach. And I was so it was really very similar work, just from a slightly different approach. So I ended up working for about 5 years in New York City public schools, specifically in the community schools initiative, working with parents. So basically doing organizing work with parents, lots of parent teacher
Wait,
associations.
so you were previously working outside or after the schools, and then you went within the schools, or what?
Well, I was working to help coordinate and run after school programs. So arts based and sports based after school programming. So in public schools, in New York City, in Boston, in Connecticut, in Philly a bit, and then so I transitioned from that work to actually working with parents in the New York City school system to help them get together, help them organize and advocate for what they felt that their students, their schools, and their neighborhoods needed.
Got you. So now you're affecting the policies of people who were in the position that you previously were in. You kind of saw that, like,
yeah, essentially.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's hard to even do things a lot of times in these positions if we don't change the underlying policies that we're able to move in, right? And I think a lot of us can relate to that.
Exactly right. It was a frustration I was feeling, and also again, and feeling that I maybe wasn't fully suited to be in the classroom on a daily basis. Because again, I think there's a misinterpretation that the teaching is easy somehow, or the youth development work is not real work or is easy, and that it couldn't be farther from the truth. So I wasn't cut out for it, to be honest with you. So that was the other main reason.
It's funny you say that, because I just recently I was speaking to a college professor that was like, she was like, I work with high schools and middle schools and public schools, and I do college stuff, and the teachers who are in these middle schools and high schools work way harder than the professors. And I just thought, like, it's an egalitarian society. Everyone works equally. It's subjective. You can't. But it was just very funny how she said that, because she's been in both spaces, and she's like, she kind of gave the impression that, like, sometimes, I do about half and half of my work in colleges and half in the public schools, and it's funny how she said, from that perspective of working in both, like, a lot of times we have the luxury in higher institutions to complain about a different set of problems, but sometimes the problems that we have with the youth at that pivotal age, where we're even deciding, are you going to go to college, right, that's some hard work. Like, you might forget to say something to a kid who's going through a crisis in high school or junior high school that was the moment an older person said to you that changed your life. because we take for granted as elders, right? As we grow up, we take for granted there's always a first moment that an idea came to you. And when they're in junior high school and high school, it's like sometimes it's that first moment that someone told you that or showed you that you go, oh, when I was little, but it was literally 2 weeks ago. And just having that teacher there, right? You know what I'm talking about. Just having that teacher in that pivotal moment, like shifted things. So we haven't glossed over the point. I think we've given respect to that, like working at these pivotal ages with the youth. There's a lot of pressure. It's not to be treated lightly, and it's almost like it's on and off the clock, right? Because even when you go home from jobs like that, you're still thinking about these youth, and sometimes you still are worrying about the policies. Damn, this kid doesn't have a ride home. They're not safe. Can I ride them home? Well, no, there's a liability issue. You could get fired if you give them a ride. Stuff like that. So you were going from that position to then working with the parents and advocating for the situations.
Yeah, that was the transition. And you mentioned getting working with high school students to help guide them on their journey to college, if that is the right thing for them. So I just wanted to shout out Z. Big shout to Z Santiago.
Yes, sir.
That's his line of work that he is fully committed to and has, made some really serious impacts in the lives of young people. So I just wanted to spotlight Z for that.
Love to that, brother.
Yep, 100%. The founder. But yeah, so
then what happened from then? And actually, before I let you go, I'll say one more thing. Well, I'm always trying to like reduce things into this because I talk so much. I'm trying to like reduce things for my lectures and stuff into like the basic information because I know I'm gonna over talk it anyway. And one thing I found out about like wealth in America is that if you're married, like, so if you have a couple who is married and you're college educated, and like one other statistic that we're not even going into, but if you're college educated, you got the degree and you're married, you're automatically like, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but you're way more likely to be above the poverty line. Okay. And, there's a lot of people in poverty here. So that's not a small thing, right? Just by having your mind on, okay, can I couple with someone and can I have this college degree? You're statistically more able to be out of the poverty line. Now, when I say that, it doesn't mean without those things you will be in poverty, right? And it certainly doesn't mean you're going to be elite or upper class because you go to college and get married at all. That's not how this works. Like the top 1% of wealth owns they own 70% of the wealth. But that for people who are in extreme poverty, having a college degree, having someone let you know you belong on these campuses if you choose to do so, is that pivotal that it can be a determining factor statistically.
Yep. Yeah, no, I actually, it's funny you that you brought me in when you did with Blessing, because I really, that really resonated with me, something that he said about, and that you were holding up about just the impact that we as humans can have on one another, and many times, or maybe the majority of times, without knowing it. That's one of my biggest takeaways from life so far, is that you just really truly never know what it is you might say or do that could leave that impact on someone that literally lasts a lifetime. And I think a lot of the time those moments are ones that again, that you wouldn't even remember until they brought it up for you and reminded you. But for them, it was just something little that you said that, you weren't even thinking about, or maybe even just the way you looked at them and affirmed them as they were sharing an experience with you, that just shifted things for them. And Amen. I know that to be the case for me personally. And it's something I try to keep with me as I go through life.
Okay, so you went from this work, and then you went to that work, and then you working with the parents. and you're also continuing your own studies. Tell us a little bit about how that brought you to where you're at today, with what you study and the work you do.
Yeah, right on.
And then we'll get back to the festival.
Hey,
This is all connected, though. We're gonna tie it all together.
That is the truth. That is the truth right there. It is definitely all connected. Everything is connected. Yeah. So I, as I mentioned, I was at the New York City Department of Education for 5 years, and then then I moved home to Northwest Philadelphia. It was 8.5 years for me in New York City, and honestly, just home had been calling for some time, and it was actually after a little. The first annual mini festival that my close friends and I organized here in Philly, in Germantown, the Choom Fest. We call it CHOOM Choom Fest. That's our squad, the Choom Squad. But yeah, we had this little festival in October 2018, and that's when it really clicked for me that I needed to be home. It was just that finally I was ready. So just under a year later, in August 2019, I moved home to Philadelphia. So that was only a brief 6 months before the pandemic hit. But just, I guess, suffice it to say that I entered into a period of pretty deep self-reflection as I got home to Philly. Was staying with my pops in the house that he grew up in. So just like literally sort of sitting with my ancestors at home in Philadelphia and just reflecting on where I needed to go. And so I'll skip over a couple steps, but ultimately where that took me less than a year later was applying to a graduate school program at Brandeis University, which actually is just outside Boston, so only a hop, skip, and a jump from Trinity. And yeah, so it's a social impact master's in business administration and a economic and racial justice master's in public policy. So, I view it just as an extension of the work that I have been doing. What's up?
I know people are saying social justice and, like you can get a degree in that. How did you find that out?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, so there's increasingly social justice angles or programs within all sorts of degree programs on the graduate level and undergraduate level. So I would encourage any kids out there, any young people out there, or not. I mean, I'm in my 30s, and that's when I went back to grad school. So anybody out there who's interested in in finding
at this part in your journey, it's like that's what it is for a lot of people. Sometimes there's a certain amount of living life before one realizes what they actually want to go to college for. Definitely.
100%.
Because I feel like college is preparing you for what you want to be known for. And the way I learned that when I was in college, I feel like, in junior high school, I knew what, like my mom, shout out to Sound Moms. I knew what my mom saw in me and my potential and my strengths that she could be proud of. In high school, I knew what like I was really gifted at, that like I could do that some of my peers couldn't do. Like, what are my weaknesses and strengths? You kind of find that out in high school, even like in a harsh way. It's like there's a level of criticism at that age. But then in college, it's not so much about like your family and friends, what they're proud of, or what you're just like really gifted at, and what are your strengths and weaknesses. In college, you hit that day where like all your professors are telling you to do 30 hours of work in 24 hours. You know what I mean? And you kind of got to stay up for like a few days in a row to get that final project done, or that paper, or whatever it is. And on that third day, when you pass out and you actually miss the test that you've been studying 3 days for, or you miss the deadline to turn in the paper, or you manage to get it done, either way, it's a sacrifice. And you go, oh, it doesn't even matter if I'm good at this. I'm going to be called on in real life. I hate to say college isn't real life, so let me not. I don't want to draw that duality, but like college is still undecided in terms of if you're known for that thing by the world, right? So I'm going to be known for this thing by the world. Am I prepared to stay up 3 days in a row and pass out studying this thing and sacrificing what my friends are doing and sacrificing other things I could have done? Like, is that the thing? And that's where I feel it comes into like a passion and a purpose on this earth thing. And I don't think a lot of people realize that's what college is a crucible for. You know, it's not like high school or junior high where like you're learning about yourself, social connecting, and seeing what you're good at. It's like, what do you want to be committed to the point where you're going to pass out and be criticized for and be missing out on other things to do?
Yeah, that's a really deep point.
I saw some flashbacks in your eyes when I was saying that.
Yeah, no, you did.
You had some moments like that, didn't you?
Absolutely. And I mean, and on some level, I still am as I work my way through this graduate program, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, I guess the ideal scenario is to find something that you're so passionate about and so committed to that it barely feels like work when you're doing it. But that may take a long time, or it may be that what you are most passionate about is not something that you are ever able to earn money from, or to earn a living from. And then therefore it's just about, you know, weaving the best balance of your life between your deepest passions and whatever it is that is your that is your professional lane.
Yeah.
And
sometimes it's just like you feel that it was hard work, but it was worthwhile. If I was gonna have someone yelling at me or conflicts and misunderstanding and be exhausted at the end of the day, I wanted to do it in this space. I'm glad I chose this space, right? Like sometimes it's
right.
not just like, okay, I picked the right thing and now everything's daisies. Sometimes it's like, okay, this is the one that's worth the nastiness of life going through, you know? I think of relationships too. So all the people that's looking for like relationships, you know, online without a lot of interaction, I feel for the people who in COVID are at a stage of their life where they're trying to connect with people in this way where they're so disconnected more than ever. And one thing that I know from my wife and relationships in general and being a coach to others, it's like you kind of connect and succeed most, not in the spaces where they're perfect for you because everything you want they do. It's more like they're perfect for you because as you go through the crises that are necessary in life and the arguments and the disappointments, you're glad you're going through with that person.
Yeah, that's
right.
I like how you just drew that connection between your partner and what it is. So the person you choose to be committed to, and I guess the purpose you choose to be committed to as a person, as a human. And that really speaks to me. And I wanted to actually hold up something that one of my former managers at the New York City Department of Education said to me that really stuck with me. She was talking about, and she's an OG parent leader in her own right, Claudette Agard. I don't think she'd mind me saying her name. There might be some people watching that know Claudette, but Crown Heights, Brooklyn, all day. And she really truly is an OG parent leader in the New York City public school system. But anyways, she worked her way up in life to be now in a senior position within the New York City DOE. But she was talking about her son's path, and her son is about my age. And he was always very passionate about planes, and about flying. And she just helped guide him to understand that if that's truly his passion, if aviation is where he wants to go, then he doesn't have to be a pilot. You don't have to fly the plane to be involved in the aviation world. And I forget exactly what his professional path has been, but he is involved in the aviation industry. That's where he works, and it's not as a pilot though. I think it might be doing marketing or some sort of like organizational management position. But just for all the young people out there and just people out there to know that, like, I generally think that if there are something or some things that you're very passionate about, you want to commit your life to, then you should, and there may well be a way to build your life, including professionally, around it or build it into it in some significant way. It just may not be in the first most obvious apparent public way that it's known for. It just might be in another role within that ecosystem. So yeah, I'm glad you made me think of that. What's up, Marilyn?
That's Sound Moms. That's Sound Moms right there. Okay, so just keep going. You got to that point. You got in Brandeis. You found out how to get a degree in something that you'd actually want to be committed to. If you had that behind your couch right now and it said Master of Social Justice, Doctor of Racial Equity, right? Like, you found that thing. I'm gonna give you a round of applause. That's quite an accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother King Ra, who made this podcast platform possible. Shout out to everybody on IG and FB and YouTube and all of that. So does that place you where you are now? You're actually taking the program?
Yeah, that does bring us to the current moment. So I've been doing it remotely from here in Philadelphia, from home in Philly. So that's actually been a blessing on numerous levels to be able to be home. So I've done the first year of the program from Philly, but I will be moving the end of the summer up to Waltham or somewhere close by, which is where Brandeis is located, just outside Boston. So yeah, we'll see how that journey progresses, but be up there for most of a year and change at least to finish it out. And yeah, I mean, next steps are to be charted out post graduation. But yeah, I mean, it's just the programs that I'm in are just an extension of my purpose in life, my passions in life, what I'm committed to, which is racial justice for all human beings on the planet. And I'm just hoping that these 2 degrees that I'm working towards are going to help me to increase and expand my impact in those areas and in the communities that I live in and that I most care about and am connected to.
So when I was this kind of ties into what we were just talking about, but when I was in college, I would have not made it through if it wasn't for hip hop. So you're an MC throughout all these experiences, and we very cleverly weaved, like, we didn't plan this, mind you. But I feel like we both got like that most people don't understand how powerful hip hop is. So we talked about this whole journey you've gone through, right? From being in the schools and the youth and the burnout and finding different ways without really talking about hip hop by name.
Right.
But I know it was there the whole time. I know the fact that you had the audacity to find a degree in your purpose was there the whole time. That hip hop was there the whole time. I know the fact that you was working with youth in the inner city, in the Bronx, that hip hop was there at the whole time. Let it not be taken for granted, right? The home of hip hop. So without going through the whole story again, right now, how is it that you are still an MC and a hip hop head, and in the sense of someone that doesn't just do an element, but someone who lives the culture and the principles of peace, love, unity, safely, having fun? What part does hip hop play in you being you right now?
Yeah, that's a great question and a really deep question. Doing hip hop, as KRS would say, and as you just alluded to, is just part of what makes me feel most like myself. It's not the only thing, but it is absolutely one of them, and it's one of the things that I always come back to. So when I am listening to hip hop, when I am rapping to myself, just walking around the house or in the shower or lying in bed, certainly the act of creating rap, writing it, being in the studio, making it with others, vast majority of the time. It's hard to explain except just to say that, like, I literally feel like myself. I physically, spiritually, intellectually, the whole nine, the whole package, feel like myself. Even as I like engage in these gesticulations, these are, this is an outward manifestation of the role that hip hop plays in me. So that's the easiest way to say it. And it's also just been an inspiring force for me, just as a fan, as a listener, as an activist, as an artist myself. It's constantly a force of rejuvenation and inspiration, and also just straight knowledge, like hearing groundbreaking critiques and analysis from some of the greatest minds of our generation and generations, breaking down the issues that I care most about and that I'm working towards in my life. So for all those reasons.
So how did you? I know. That's why I was so glad to see you on that screen this year, and I'm excited to see you this weekend in the festival. How did you begin your journey of involvement in the international hip hop? I'm assuming it was one of these trips between youth work and colleges in New England and youth work in New York. How did you stumble upon the festival and become like such a recognizable person that I gotta ask you this. What is your name, bro? I've never asked you that. I didn't know if it was like a Baha'i religion. I like the wordplay of the Baha'i bull. Like, your name is like, it stands out. And I've never asked you this. And every time I'm like, that's how you do a name. Because nobody has that name. And it's like see how your face lit up right now? Like, it's just like getting a degree. Someone who has a degree in what they actually like is someone who would have a name that actually symbolizes them. And I don't even know what it is, but I know it's you. So salute to you for like having that dope name. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, it's like you can kill the magic of the romance of me having this mysterious thing. I'm ready to know, what the hell is your name? Where does that come from? Like, what is that name about?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
And how do you actually pronounce it?
Right on. Yeah, there's a couple. Well, it's a story, but yeah, it's pronounced essentially Bahia, and even that is slightly incorrect. And I know that it's a Hindi word, so Bahia means brother, or older brother, most frequently in Hindi. And so I've spent a pretty good amount of time in Varanasi in northern India. I have a whole crew and community there. So that's Mike Baya is just literally what people call me there. That's my name. So everyone in my community there is either Baya or Didi or G, or Beta. So Baya is brother, Didi is sister. G is just a respectful thing that you add on to someone's name. So I would say suffice G, or ZG. You just literally add on G, and it's a respectful. It's like sir or ma'am. It's a way to show respect.
That's so crazy because we be like my G, you know.
I know it's not lost on me either.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
connections.
that's directly where it comes from. But you know, you take your own, you take meaning from it at the same time. So you know, there's the wordplay of, you know, of be higher if you want to take it that way. There's also the Baha'i faith,
Mm,
which is, you know, and
mm,
it's actually interesting because I don't know for sure if there is a direct connection between the Baha'i religion and the
mhm.
word Baya. I mean,
Okay.
the Baha'i faith, I believe, is quite prominent in India. There may well be, but I'm not
Huh.
positive about that. But to me it matters. It is a connection because when I first went to India in the fall of 2003, we visited the Lotus Temple in Delhi. Me and the small group of students that I was traveling with, um, led by a straight up OG organizer leader in Varanasi where we were on our way to, who's to this day my big bro, Bantu G, Bantu Baya. So he took us there, and I had never heard of the Baha'i faith, and it really was pretty profound to me because the fundamental tenets, as I understand them, of the Baha'i faith is that it's meant to be a combination of people from all of the world's religions. So
Mm,
everybody is welcomed in. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It's encouraged.
okay.
It's better to have people from all different religions as part of the Baha'i community. And
Wow.
they straight up did their digging, and they pulled out the literal words from um, all of the world's, I guess, most renowned or widespread religions, and made those their
Wow.
fundamental tenets. So they said, look at all the similarities between Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Jainism. Look at all of these similarities. This is what it's really all about, and this is what we are about. So that, you know, as a 18-year-old, that resonated a lot with me, especially as someone who was and to a significant degree very much still is skeptical of many organized religions
Mhm.
because of, I think, the division and the close mindedness that they end up breeding, which is so
Cool.
hypocritical, but
Right.
directly in opposition to
Right. Facts. Wow. Thank you.
that.
I don't feel like you killed the mystery and the glory of that cool ass name. I feel like it just got as cool as I thought it would be from afar. You know what I mean? Like you could have been like, nah, it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like that makes sense. That's dope. You own that. And I actually want to say I bet there's people within those different parts that use that word and sanctify that word who would smile if they were watching you on this interview, you know, and are glad to know that you're out there representing what you're doing, you know, that it's not just like a cool gimmick to you. So props to you for that. And props to me for being a fool and like speaking on behalf of other people that I don't know. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of them, but I've been in scenarios and discussions about this type of thing where there is a universal um appreciation for people being from different places and being able to resonate on the same thing and to have a faith like Baha'i or you know a leader like the ones that were taking you to understand certain words in Hindi and India, um, to have them stress that it's pretty obvious that they would be proud, you know, that you're sharing that through hip hop culture and in different parts of the country than they could reach. So sometimes we get so caught up in like people fighting against oppression that we fight against oppression in an oppressive way. And I think anytime that we can help get our message into not being our message, but into being like a message that we see in other people, like that's it. That's all we're trying to do. That destroys oppression. When you can literally be like, this is not my message. It is a message that's being blocked by my enemies. You know, like that's it. That's it. I don't own peace and love and unity and fun. Like
Yep.
I just have found myself needing to fight to enjoy those and for other people to enjoy those. Right. And I'm not mad at anybody who also enjoys those and says those in different places or different words. So shout to you for being that. So now we'll go back to the question. How did you get involved in the festival? How did you stumble upon it? And how did you become such like besides the name, just like a presence in the festival where I was like glad to see you this year and glad to see like, yo, he's coming through and the COVID and doing it. What was your journey like?
Well, it really wasn't. It was literally not a far cry for me to reach the first fest. Although I got to be honest, first fest was spring 2005. Is that right?
I don't think so.
Or was it 06?
I think it was 2006.
Okay, sorry.
Because 2005, I just put a post up on my Instagram timeline. I think 2005 was the African Underground Showcase, literally in the Underground Cafe. And it was just McGee put together like some dope African MCs. And, you know, and this is like McGee had been helping me put up like just underground, where I get underground artists for like, you know, and try to get $50 from this department or that part, like for years. Then I would show him how to do these, how I did it, you know, because I was going back and forth on the weekends. So like Pyramid or New Eurekan and Bar 169 and throwing these battles and these shows and just trying to keep that energy going. And then I was kind of doing that on the college campus too with limited funds. And he came through and was like learning from me. But at the same time, when he took what he learned from me, he was like, he got more funds for one event than I got for like all my events combined. You know what I mean? And it was just like, he was like, yeah, now I'm gonna show people that hip hop is, because he was talking about MCs rapping in France and Africa, all that. So that's really how this kind of started. I call that show like the International Hip Hop Festival 0. You know, like that was the prototype. So I think 2006 might have been the first. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Kill me. I could be wrong, but that's what I think it was.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, and given that this is the 15th annual, I think that checks out. So that I was just trying to confirm how old I was when I first was there. So yeah, I was at the first.
And it sucks now because having lost a year to COVID, these conversations are going to get even more confusing because we're always going to have to subtract a year.
Right.
Because the 15th was supposed to be last year, but
it is
anyway.
Right. It's just, you know, it's an asterisk in history. Or it's deeper than that, but you're right. It is. Hey, we're here. We're back at it, and it's more powerful than ever.
Facts.
And yeah, so I went to Wesleyan University for undergrad. And so I know how I found out. It was Z Santiago, Mr. Santiago himself, came through and flyered Wesleyan, just, you know, hopped in the whip and skirted down I'm trying to remember the main highway connecting Hartford and Middletown. But so Z
probably.
Yeah. So Z was
either 84 or 91.
I think 91 sounds right. I think there's a couple other roads that in there, but 91 sounds right.
And 15.
15, yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah, that was my home for 4 years. So yeah, man, I just saw a flyer. It was outside West Shop, the campus like convenience store. I remember I can see it right now. Dope. Every flyer has been dope. Every poster has been dope. Every piece of art for the fest has been dope. I mean, that's one of the the Trinity International Hip Hop Festival is the only all-encompassing hip hop festival that I really honestly know. Unfortunately, there's others that I don't know. I mean, the Brooklyn Hip Hop Fest is really good, but again, I don't feel that they
shout out to Wes, shout out to the festival. Yeah, definitely.
Yes, shout out to shout outs to Wes and that whole team. But I don't feel that they as intentionally encompass all 5 or more elements as Trinity does. So, anyways, just the visual art is such a huge aspect of Trinity. But yeah, so just saw the flyer,
Wow.
man, and I got a crew together. I was in
Thank
in a
you for
hip-hop
that
collective.
validation. I hope everyone's hearing that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been saying it from the very beginning. I mean, this is, and it's surprising to me that I'm not aware of more full hip hop festivals, just complete, expansive, all encompassing hip hop festivals. I think they exist. I think I'm just not aware of them. But I don't know. That's getting onto another lane, but that does beg the question of why is that?
Yeah, and it's hard. Let me say that because within any festival, not even in hip hop, right? Like within any festival, it's so difficult organizing a festival with moving parts and perspectives and views and finances and locations and rain dates and all. It's very hard, right? And then you deal with the fact that hip hop culture and its elements and principles are misunderstood because a lot of times people are so quick to get the money before they're quick to go get the pioneers, right? And we always tend to try to consult the pioneers at the International Hip Hop Festival, right? Like they actually did it and they actually do it. And let me say that they actually do it. So like when you see Kool Herc at the festival DJing with like the Spelunk cave goggles at 2 a.m, you're like, oh, he still does this. Right? Like there's so many people who have, oh, I'm gonna do the hip hop thing. Well, first of all, he was doing it when it wasn't a thing. And then they were like, yeah, I'm gonna do the hip hop thing. Oh, it didn't work out, and I jumped out. Like he made it a thing, stayed as people came and went, and is still doing it till 2 a.m while people is getting tired. Right? So like it's we know for I'm proud of everybody involved. We know that people like that. Shout out to Tony Crush, shout out to KRS, shout out to Minister Service, shout out to Crazy Lake, shout out to on down the list, everyone who's been a pioneer and involved, Grandmaster Kaz. Like those people who have given us the guidance to know that like it's really a culture with different elements. And a lot of people don't even know that. So to deal with the regular conflicts of a festival and then deal with a misunderstood culture and then incorporate those elements, like it's not easy. So that's no shade to anyone who's not doing it at all. But I am definitely proud that it's been able to be maintained. There were years where the DJing component fell out to a degree. Like we always had DJing, but we didn't always have like a DJ event at the festival as we should. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's honest of you to admit that. I mean, it's not something that I noticed directly, but just for you to share that is, I appreciate that. And like you said, it speaks to the intensity of effort that it takes to put together a festival that encompasses all 4 main elements, plus, you know, the other closely connected forms as well. Yeah. I mean, I will say that, you know, just in itself, like that's a good point, just because
that's our festival. That's dope.
Hip hop is a full culture. It's a literal. Right. I mean, I think cultures develop around a lot of different music scenes. That happens pretty frequently. You know, just a culture can develop around just an indie rock scene or a jazz scene or even a hip hop scene can develop their own culture in the community in which it's sprouting. But it is very rare. I mean, I don't know of any other music form that has spawned a culture the size of hip hop and one with multiple critical foundational elements. You know, I don't know. I mean, obviously dancing is just a part of humanity and a part of what people naturally do when they experience music. But breakdancing is basically a full-on subculture in itself. So just if you're going to organize a true a true full hip hop fest, then it has to be breaking, it has to be DJing, it has to be MCing, it has to be graffiti. It really has to be fashion too. And then I would argue, and this is what Trinity is so powerful for doing, is to me, it also has to be activism, and or knowledge, and those, and
See,
I mean, they're all interlinked.
That's what, that's one of the things that why I think people looking back on this will see why I asked you about your life and what was involved, right? Because it has to be activism, and maybe unconventional activism, and maybe as Dr. Martin Luther King said, creative suffering. But it's a sustainable form of activism, and that's really when hip hop starts to wane and fade out and be disrespected. It's when that element starts to go out, and it just becomes the outward like performance of what people see as the art. And when hip hop is reborn and strengthened and continues, it's always because of that element, that there has to be some form of activism in there, whether it's people are seeing it directly or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's a through line throughout the entire history of hip hop. And I think most of I don't know, again, this gets into a deep conversation, an expansive conversation, but I think most of the greatest MCs of all time who are in that conversation of literally of the greatest of all time tend to have powerful, explicit political messages as part of their catalog and their art form. So that says it, that's a powerful statement right there about the politics of hip hop. But with that said, I mean, I think in their own way, artists like Migos are making political statements. And I mean, and that's the thing is, even if the content isn't explicitly, isn't explicitly critiquing a specific aspect of our society or activist in nature. I mean, like, anytime you have a Black person, especially a poor Black person in the United States of America, expressing themselves creatively, and doing so and connecting with people doing it, then that in itself is I think a political act.
Yeah. Did you actually see this show Rhythm and Flow?
Yo, I have not yet. I could show you the note in my phone of shows to watch. It's right on there. I haven't yet. I was just put on by my girl Keshia. Shouts to the I think it's the Graduate Student Association at Heller. But Keshia was like, "Yo, D Smoke is dope. Like, that's awesome that you're part of the fest this year." And she let me know, yeah, he was on. He crushed it on Rhythm and Flow. So I got to now I have an even stronger reason to check it out.
I was thinking of him not only because he is the feature of this year's 15th annual International Hip Hop Festival, which this is your last chance, y'all. I'm doing this interview. It's funny. I'm actually doing a training with the Connecticut Center for Nonviolence. Or I just stay on all night, getting ready for this festival. But around 6:30, I gotta go. I only have like 20 minutes left on this. Actually, my brother Doomy's in the green room right now, about to bring him in a second too. But so I'm doing this thing with the Kenyon Center tonight, and like, I was thinking of him, right, as the feature, but as the epitome of what you're talking about and what we're talking about. When things start to you start to lose some of the integrity of hip hop, and then you have these people that come out with the message. And also as an educator, you love them too, because as we're watching this show, right, like, there was a lot of dope artists on there, but he was like, a teacher in a school, and he was using hip hop, and he was like doing what a lot of us relate to. Because I always say this, it might just be me being weird or an exception, but I know way more hip hop artists who are in nonprofits and after school programs and doing social work than I do who are like trying to get on like the Grammys and the billboards and the stuff that I thought was the place for a hip hop artist. You know what I mean? Like I literally know hundreds upon hundreds of hip hop artists, dancers, graffiti artists, DJs who like most of the time in their day is like doing social justice work, going in jails, counseling, you know, like anything that has to do with actually making a difference. You know what I'm saying? So like this was that dude. He was like, oh, to me, you're like the people that I know. You know what I mean? You really hip hop because you do this until you get like that big check or whatever. You do it, and therefore, when you get that big check, we're all rooting for you. Like we know you paid your dues. You were in the community, and you're speaking on behalf of the community. And we know it's like thousands of kids that you've worked with that are saying, "That's my teacher. What he told me is cool. It wasn't corny what he told me." Right? There's so many of us that when you win, it's like the kids go, "Oh, you spent this time with us because this was important." Not for lack of skill or talent, just that was unrecognized by the industry or the commerce here. So that's a shout out to D Smoke, but also a shout out to what you're talking about. Like the fact that he's there, I do think that, you know, some people might have missed that point, that besides incorporating all the elements, as you're saying, the festival has always found a way to also incorporate that activist point, like that makes people put some respect on what we do. Like, this is deeper than what you think it is. So let me ask you this, as we're rounding up. How you feeling now about being in the favorite showcase this year? Like you've been in the favorite showcase. Like I don't care what that fact of the matter is. In my mind, you've imprinted yourself on the favorite showcase. Like you're one of the images of favorite showcase. Just tell me what this means to you to be like in the favorite showcase this year in the virtual, and like what real quick, like what's been your experience with the favorite showcase?
Right on. Well, I mean, what makes the favorite showcase so special and so integral to the Trinity International Hip Hop Festival is that it's Hartford. You know, it's really, really like it's basically it's to the core of Hartford hip hop, and then other Connecticut artists and other New England hip hop artists. But like, if it's going to be an international hip hop festival, then it also very much needs to be the heartbeat of Hartford, right?
Thank you. A lot of people
miss
that.
You know, so to me, that's the
It's
power.
Like people talk about international and then they leave out indigenous people. Like we'll just exterminate the people where we're, you know what I mean? Another point that gets missed, like within the elements, there's this activism that happens at this festival. Within the international, there's like this not destroying and ignoring of the local people who are constantly being like denigrated and ignored. Absolutely.
Well, amen to that, because right, for every Migos or Drake or Kendrick or Nicki or Megan, whoever it is, like they came from a community. They came from a hip hop community that nurtured them. So I mean, right, and so and unfortunately, those folks, their mentors and the people and just their colleagues, their peers in those scenes and those communities rarely see the financial benefits that they end up accruing. But it's truly they formed together, you know. So again, I mean that's why the favorites is so important. And yeah, I mean, just, you know, it's for me personally, it's a huge honor. It really is. I guess I consider myself a Philadelphia MC, a Brooklyn MC, and a New England MC. Actually, my mom lives in Vermont, so that's like I actually have a home, a family home in Vermont, in New England.
Shout out to Professor Marco, I think, is out there right now. Shout out to Vermont.
Well, big shout to Prof. Marco. Huge shout to Prof. Marco. That's my guy, and I've learned a lot from him over the years. But yeah, suffice me, it's just an honor to be included in the local community, and to be a featured artist within. I'm just like to see it. And I should say I've seen a lot of young, like, youth, high school students, college students perform on the favorite stage over the years too, which is a really important thing that you do. And we actually haven't even really gotten too much into that, but the whole youth conference of the festival is something that is equally as integral and powerful. And I haven't gotten to participate as much in that because I'm not one of the organizers of it, and I've never been of that age to be a student in it. But that's been another great aspect of the favorite stage over the years.
I'm sure Jasmine would love to have you participate. Like, it's a blessing that the favorites has always like dovetailed with the youth conference, and some people have been able to get the motivation from the youth conference and take that into the ciphers of the favorites. So we've had some amazing young people.
I just wanted to give a shout out to
Jazz.
Oh man, what is, you know what? I'm blanking on her name at the last minute now. It's Nitsa. Yeah, she's a Trinity student organizer, Nitsa. And she absolutely crushed it the last time we were together physically in 2019 on the favorite stage. I spoke about that. Oh my God, I got a video of it. It's on my Instagram. It's on my Instagram. It's there
right now.
Yeah, it's there.
If you look from like, is it like from last year, or is it a current post now?
It's from the 2019 post that I did.
Okay, so I might need you to repost that as a throwback, and like either way, even if you don't, can you tag me in that so I can like repost that?
I will. Yeah,
because that was her stepping on the scene, and then she went right into like, I'm making sure this festival runs, and now she's like one of the lead organizers of the festival. So shout out to my star. Okay, so thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing you this weekend in the favorite showcase. Thank you for showing so many people that you can actually like commit to something that feels more like a purpose than something you have to do. And whether it's from the Bronx to Philly to New York to different religious expeditions to degrees, like you've constantly had to struggle with how to do it and be like water, but you've kept that hip-hop spirit and you've kept that activism spirit. And we talked about this earlier before you got on with Hydro and Blessings Divine and Minister Server. Some people just have always asked, what can I do for the festival and how can I appreciate this moment? And when you see those people like up on a stage, it's just like perfect. It makes perfect sense. Like nobody's mad. You know, everyone's like, it's that guy. Like, I think even people who don't know you are going to be like, oh, that dude. Like, he's always bringing energy. And he's always like, you know what I mean? Like, that's you. Like, you deserved a place whether you were in the favorite showcase or not. And I'm just applauding you and thanking you for being that person. And I'm glad to see you in the festival. Online at the 15th annual festival, link in bio now. Last chance to register for free. Send out the links to everybody. This was Mike Bahia, activist, hip hopper, scholar, and youth organizer, and an LMC. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much, Suffice. I really appreciate
so
you. So
you could hang in with there, or you don't have to stay, but you can hang in with us. I'm about to bring Doomy to the stage. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, Doomy right.
Peace, Doomy.
Hey, peace. What's up, Mike? How you feeling, man? It was good hearing you all chop it up. Just here observing, listening.
Right on. Yeah, I feel great. I'm already feeling uplifted by the fest, and I'm psyched for the next 3 days.
Awesome.
Yeah, we need it right now.
Doomy Right hit me up one day and was like, we're doing, so this is before Rhythm and Flow that, you know, D Smoke went on and finally showed that he'd been paying his dues and became this phenomenon, and now he's like broken through. You know, I don't know if he's still a teacher, but I'm sure if he does, it's occasional now. You know, but before Rhythm and Flow, there was an event called Pitch and Flow. And my bro star Doomy hit me up, and I was so honored to be in the constellation and to have him in the constellation, because Do Me Right is so humble. Like when you talk about hip hop and international hip hop, Do Me Right is like we could go on and on and on with a straight face, and you'd be like, oh, that's possible. Oh, that's possible too. Oh, that's possible. Oh, that's what hip hop's really about. Like he just represents in so many ways. I'm not even like, this is not hyperbole. It sounds like hyperbole, I know. Like he really holds the flagpole for the culture of hip hop internationally. Before, during, and after most of the people you know. So to have him hit me up and be like, yo, Suffice, it's gonna be this joint's pitch and flow, and we're gonna have MCs compete with raps, but you're gonna be competing on speaking on behalf of socially conscious organizations.
Yeah,
so if your rap's
entrepreneurs.
better, that organization gets more money for cleaning the environment and solar powers and
Right. Solar
stopping child
cooking.
labor.
Right. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
providing uniforms to kids,
Yeah.
name it, you know, solar cooking, solar irrigation,
Yeah.
all these progressive causes. Because it's funny, you know what I mean? Because, like, I mean, we all came up in different battle scenes or whatever. And I remember early on, I got to the point where I'm like, yo, that's a lot of energy that I'm putting out into like this battle environment.
Like, what are we battling for?
I could use to build up myself, you know what I mean? And
Yes.
I leave the battle mad and like vexed and like, oh wow, that cat shouldn't have won, and you know that cat said this, and, you know this cat was whack, but he brought his book. You know what I mean? It was just a constant like, you know what I mean? People laugh because I'm always making them sound. It's like, but anyway, so I haven't been on the battle scene for a long time. You know, I'll be in ciphers and we'll freestyle, and to me that's uplifting and building.
Right.
But
that
my man hit me. And he was like, yo, he was at a thing like, I don't know, overseas or whatever. And they were having, you know, like they do these speed round pitch contests. And they'll have different, you know, it could be a high tech focus. It could be environmental focus. But this was like sustainable entrepreneurs. And they have like 5 minutes to pitch their thing. And he said he went to the event and they had a DJ spinning. And it's like projections. And it was like all cool. And then the music stopped. It's like the record goes, and they're like, okay, and now we will have the pitch contest. And the person comes up with the PowerPoint, no music, no lighting, and they kick their, you know, presentation. The next person, and he said, yo, what just happened? Y'all just deaded the atmosphere and went to, he's like, he thought it was all going to be, you know, still be part of that.
Anticlimactic.
Exactly.
But like, so they built up to a thing you'd want to listen. It's supposed to not building up. It's like, oh, we could. Okay, yeah, so that's how it started.
And so this is my man, Tomas DeBas. He's one of those thinker cats. Like he's always like thinking of and scheming of progressive causes and things like that. So he was like, yo, when he was telling people this, they were like, yo, so then why don't we do it the way you envisioned it happening? You know what I mean? And keep the momentum. And instead of that being the build up to the anticlimax, make it the whole event be around pitching and flowing. And a lot of times the entrepreneurs and people are telling me like, you might have the most brilliant entrepreneur, but a big part of that is communicating your message, right? And convincing people what you're saying and kind of what, you know, what the whole project initiative is all about. And especially with these social entrepreneurs, social justice entrepreneurs trying to make a difference and a change with this initiative, it's good to have people who are good communicators. So guess who's a good communicator? Your local favorite MC, right? Especially a progressive or conscious MC, because we used to talking about something, right? And so the first thing he was telling me.
I'll speak for myself, but I'm pretty sure it's for others. I had already been putting together, like, I don't like just battling when it keeps being portrayed from people outside the culture as they think I'm just dissing people in my community, because that's not what I'm doing. We're practicing like a modern day Dozens, where we're building up each other's psychology and showing that words really don't hurt you, and that no matter what someone else says, you get your turn, they get their turn is the most. But like also being like, well, how can I? What is a real battle? If I'm not excited by the battle of just like winning a jacket to have 16 people feel like they're below me or some, what is a real battle? And a real battle would be like, oh, a cause.
Right.
Like, what if we battled racism? What if we battled poverty? So I had
Right.
already been thinking about this for a while. And I'm pretty sure that most of the other MCs who are involved have been having this dilemma for a while too. I want that same positive transmutation of aggressive energy for a positive cause.
Right, because if we look at physics, right, matter can't be created or destroyed; it's just transformed. So we've got this, vicious verbal energy, right? And we want to crush something, right? We want to get at it. But then what if we transform that into building something instead of using it to destroy? So that's kind of how I looked at pitch and flow. And so, of course, man, you already know. Like when they were like, well, who do you know? And they were like, oh, well, they want to get some famous people and so. And I was like, straight up, yo, I'm not really checking for the fame. I just want people that are going to be able to articulate the purpose and the vision. You know what I mean? People that live it and walk it and talk it. And so obviously you came to mind, immediately. Mikal Lee, came to mind immediately. Folks like that, just to be like, yo, like these are
Shout out
cats
to
that-
Mikal.
Yes,
Shout out
indeed.
to My Verse, Natalia.
Tony
who
Blackman.
most people know from Wild 'N Out. Tony
Right.
Blackman, who
Yeah.
just killed the rest in peace Mums. I just seen her at Mums. Spoke a great luminary in the spoken word world.
Yes, yes,
Mums the
rest in
Schema just
peace.
passed away, and
Rest in
Tony was
peace.
part of the memorial, and she just like amazing,
Yeah. Asher Rule. So
Asher
yeah, that's
Rule,
that.
who
You know what I mean?
most people know from the intro to the Boondocks, right? But
Yeah.
as hip hop heads, we know it's this dope MC.
MC and hip hop educator, because that was the other thing too. Like anyone who's a hip hop educator is well skilled and versed in
Professor Lyrical. I mean, Asher Rule
Lyrical.
created whole curriculums on using hip hop to teach in schools and
Exactly,
raise kids, right? Like
exactly.
he
Yep.
did that. So we've all it was like, why is this happening right now? Like, why don't we do this every day? Professor Lyrical, a
Yep.
literal math professor
Professor at
who
UDC,
like
yeah.
was one of the Ski, from Jay-Z's Original Flavors was the original group with Jay-Z. Like Ski had Professor Lyrical as a young man and Jay-Z and a crew, and he thought he actually won the whole contest, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he got the trophy, he got the title on that one. But yeah, that was the thing. Like
oh, don't forget my brother Wes Felton.
Yes,
From the Crossroads with Raheem
Raheem
Devine. Wes Felton.
Definitely
That boy right there. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice
Me
with the
and him
lyrics.
actually went to Silicon Valley. They just called last minute and they were like, yo, there's like a conference about work, the future of work, and they're going to be doing presentations and talking about it, and we want to kind of change the energy and momentum and kind of do it as a showcase to kind of be like, this is a microcosm of pitch and flow to try to do something bigger in the future. And so they had us in there on the sneak tip. Everyone was talking and presenting and talking about the mathematical calculations of labor to workforce ratios and this, that, and the other. And they're like, oh yeah. And so we have Doomy was part of one of the groups. So did you want to summarize and break down what happened? And I stepped up on stage and let them have it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like
that,
and totally flipped everybody's mind with that.
That's it right there. That's it. And like, if I had to pick one person to represent it out of all of us who are there, it would probably be Wes. From the performance that I saw on the actual stage, like, I'm gonna give it up to that brother.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it up. Obviously, that's subjective. This is like my own perspective, but like I'm seeing the behind the scenes and I'm seeing and it's like the way he presented it, like he really embodied it from my perspective to like a tremendous degree, because his thing was like an anthem. I remember that. I remember the song that he gave was like, it made like you could see people getting behind this company. And like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like for mine, it was like, okay, what did someone come up with in like a couple of days? And it was funny, like the behind the scenes story from mine is like I wrote my joint and I had it and everything, and then like this is one of the issues that I also have with battles. Like sometimes I was never good at battling somebody that I didn't have a problem with. So like if I didn't like somebody, because remember I started on a block battle, you know what I mean?
Right.
Where it was like an issue, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, you know what I mean? So then when it got to like certain times where it's like, oh, I'm not really like people like I'm gonna ruin your career if you battle me. Like I'm not gonna do that to another person in my community. That's not exciting to me. It's not, and I respect how it is to some people, and I get it. You know, like I remember one time I battled Technique, Immortal Technique twice, but like he was my homie. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been, you know, I had a bar or two where people went crazy, but at the same time, it's like I'm not trying to destroy you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to uplift you. Your message is needed. So it was interesting how like I wrote my thing and I was practicing it in a short time or whatever. And then when I met my organization leader, like I guess she wasn't getting through to me when we was working on it, and she's busy because she's traveling around the world doing what you're saying, like pitching, saving the environment and stuff. But then like the day before, she had some like things to say about like, oh, can we do this and that? And again, me being that type of personality, instead of being like, you know what, like I think I got the idea already and it's kind of too late, I was like, all right, cool. So like I started like rewriting my whole joint.
Man,
and that like
what they should have done, they should have had a behind the scenes, because I'm telling you, bro, it was like he was asking me like, yo, how long is it gonna take y'all to write these joints? And I'm trying to give like a lot of time because I don't know how people write. So I'm like, probably like 2 weeks, like at least.
That's
2 weeks minimum. Do. I'm like 2 weeks because we want to understand the company. We don't want to throw. And he's like, oh, okay, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I honestly, Pitch and Flow was like a Friday. I think I talked to my guy on Monday, and they were like, here's a website, here's a link, here's a bunch of stuff. And like I looked and I'm like, right, and I'm calling, and like you said, it's like, oh, he's not here, he's out of the country, so he's not getting your messages. Hit him back. And then when I hit him up, he was like, okay, what do you know? I was like, I went to this website. He says, that's the wrong website. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, that's not what we're doing anymore. We're doing this other thing. And I was like, and so, 2 days, 48 hours, like rewrite. So it was funny because I think we all had stories where it was like last minute. I was literally on the train on Amtrak coming from New Jersey to DC for work, calling, and I finally got in touch with him. And I'm like, oh, yo. And I'm like, so I looked at the website, and he's like, what's your website? I'm like, hello, you still there? I look at it, and I told him, he's like, that's the wrong one. I'm like, what did you say? I think I have a bad connection. He's like, that's the wrong one. And I'm like, Dodge connection. I call back. And I'm like, which one should I go to? I'm like pulling out a piece of paper to try to write down. He's like, go to, this and this and this, Liberty and Justice, and go to check it out. It's crazy. But that's also kind of the challenge of it. You know what I mean?
That like, is
breakneck speed, last minute. Who can get it together.
But it's funny how in the watching of the event, the viewer is always like, okay, this person versus this person and their performance, and they're not realizing like you're not necessarily getting the person. Like I remember, I don't know if you saw the follow-up emails, but like they were thinking about putting out some of these songs on a recording, a compilation or something like that. And I remember like I went to my engineer and re-recorded what I did. Right. You know what I mean? And it was like, this is fire. This is fire. Like, had I had that 2 weeks, this is what I want to do. And I apologize in the email. I was like, yo, I'm sorry to be resubmitting this, but the last one you got on the spot, like it doesn't really represent like how I present my thing. And it's funny because now I have done more and more commissions for organizations that are commissioning me to do like this type of thing. Not as a battle thing, but to like put their mission in rap form.
Right, their messaging and everything.
And I do 2 weeks, to listen to the vibe, to understand it, to learn it by heart, that type of thing. So
yeah, and get the kind of in-depth picture of what they're trying to do, what's important, What are they
Right.
trying to communicate? What's not so important? You know what I mean? Because some of the stuff
But
is
like
well,
your
that's
your thing,
peripheral.
you always come off as like a serious like flag holder again for the culture. Like even in that circumstance, having said all that, if people watch your performance, they would be like, yo, he's teaching. Like he's not struggling, you know what I mean? Like, and that was the other thing. Like people know I'm a live performer. You know how I get down. So like
Word.
I told my person like in the last minute, like, you know, we're at the Kennedy Center and everything. So like, you know, I'm a completely make everything dissolve, and I'm gonna do a stage dive, right? And her from her background, like that sounds crazy, which I
Right.
understand.
Right.
But usually it sounds crazy, and then people see it and they're like, oh, I get it.
Right.
And in this context, it was like, oh man, there's some lines here that I don't know, you know, where to cross or not, because this is a big deal for her. We're really bringing MCs for like these really, you know, there's multi-million dollars involved in these, and they're trying to put it towards a good cause. And like, if she doesn't get it, it's not really like a fun thing for me to just push the line. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I
exactly.
kind of like held back on that, but that was a disconnect too, because for us as artists, like, you know what you do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Your
like,
specialty.
yeah. And I teach kids to safely do this type of thing, right? So it seems crazy, but it's like a whole safe thing and a method to the madness. And that was kind of like, it was a couple things that, like, shout out to everyone who performs and records and does these things on short notice, because you really do need to be in your zone without any excuses. And
Yeah.
like
My-
when you were also your Twitch concert that I caught, your Twitch concert recently, like you always come off as like, just like, there's people don't see behind the scenes when
That's
you
what I
do
was
your
gonna say.
thing.
And the thing I learned too, like, I mean, my cousin always used to say, like, man, they don't care if you had a bad day. They came to see a show. You know what I
Right.
mean? They came to be entertained. It's the same thing we do with, you know, people we watch in movies or, you know, whatever, pro athletes and that kind of stuff. It's like, we want you to, you know what I mean? And, you know, when people see you rock at a festival and they think, okay, he got a slot. Well, he needs to do his thing. Okay, so he had a bad week and he wasn't prepared or he forgot his lines. They're not going to give you that excuse. You got to bring it. And a lot of times I realize too, like, you can never judge how, you know what I mean? You have to bring it 100% every time. You can't be like, oh, I can bring 70% at this show because there ain't going to be a lot of people. Or I can bring 50% at this show because it's just going to be little kids, because everything leads to other stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be 100% all the time and go all out. Whether you know this, you know the deal too. You at a show and it's like 20 people, kind of quiet. You got to rock the house. It's 150 people. You got to rock the house. It's 500, 1,000 people. You got to rock. Like,
There's been
no
shows where it was
excuses.
5 people,
Yeah.
and one of those 5 people that I performed crazy for ended up booking me for a huge gig later.
Yeah. Or somebody saw the video and was like, yo, I saw you kill it at this joint. It wasn't even a whole lot of people, but your energy was just so fly. Like, you know, let's do this other thing or whatever. And the same thing, you know what I mean? I take, like, when I'm doing workshops and I talk to kids, I'm like, yo, y'all can't be quiet and be like, oh, these are just my friends. Cause, you know, the way you practice is the way you play in the game too. So if you're used to like mailing it in and doing halfway shows, when you do get the big thing, you know what I mean, it's going to be difficult to turn up to 100 because you're used to operating around 50, 60. So
And on the other hand, if you can turn up without the niceties and the luxuries and everything, then you know when you have those things, you straight. You know, that we were talking about that too, how because some of us came up battling with the adrenaline and stuff, to be able to freestyle on the is actually easier than having to freestyle while battling people and knowing that like there was consequences and feelings and relationships that was going to be different if you didn't say the right thing in that moment, you know. So this is actually reminding me of a recent song that you put out, and I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind like sharing some of the bars. You know, you have a song about really doing what you do and choosing your passion. And I feel that like this is exactly what that is. I still have it on my list to like do my post talking about your song and how it's impactful to me. But like you articulated what we're talking about so perfect. Could you like share a few bars from the
Yeah,
joint
yeah,
or a
yeah.
verse?
I'm thinking I'm gonna come off the top, but I might just pull it up just so I don't uh mess it up as I go, because it's
I
like
don't
those
think I
words are
told
important.
you. Why you getting that up? I don't think I told you like how powerful that joint is.
Oh nah, you didn't, but I appreciate it, man. Like, I mean, I wrote
Sibling, sibling.
when I posted
When,
it up, I said
yeah,
the realest song I ever wrote, because that's like kind of a quote, a cliche, whatever. But
right.
I mean it. You know what I
You
mean?
mean
Like,
okay? So you
I
know,
mean it. I mean it. Like, it's straight up. Like,
okay, because I was listening to the song and I was like, oh yes, exactly. And the best part of MCing to me, of any art form really, is when someone could really express an idea fully. Because I've never felt like just speaking in the English language, at least, which is like mostly the only language I really know, at least in the English language, like I've never been able to fully articulate an idea. And that's one of the reasons why I rap and use hip hop lyricism. It's not like just a game or art to me. It's like it's actually full expression.
word up.
So to hear you be able to rock on the beat and get that idea across and it makes sense, and you really explain a feeling that I want so many people to understand of really being on point and living your purpose. Like, and it sounded like it felt like not just the intellectual idea, but the sound of it, the way you was flowing it. I'm like, this idea deserves to knock on the beat like this. You know what I'm saying?
Word
So
up. Word up.
I just want to give you your flowers for that. Like that song right there is that's it. That's the goal. The goal is to express ideas into the universe the way you did in this track.
Nah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's like, and it's hard too, cause like I almost feel like I've I always wanted to write it, but I was never ready to write it. And I'd write a line,
Mm,
I'd write some parts or whatever, and I'd do like a
mm.
song, and it's kind of like, well, that kind of talks about it, but it's not like, you know what I mean? It's not the audio biography part
Yes.
of it. It's just like
Yes.
a snippet. Whereas when I did this thing, it was like, okay,
Mm,
yeah, that's what I've been trying to say.
mm,
That's what I've been thinking, this
mm.
whole time, That was like, this is my calling,
This
and I
is my calling.
and I wrote the hook, and my brother Nathaniel Starr, he's like a brilliant vocalist, so he'll translate those words into that, you know, soul, touching type of musical experience. But
Right.
I mean, so it
Given
went
the
like,
idea, it's just expression instead of just this is my calling, you know.
right. And so that's why I was like, foot on my gas, no stalling, straight up. That came from the first car I owned, Ford Tempo.
Wow.
Big shout out to Ford. I hate you. That car used to stall all the time, and I'd be driving from upstate New York to Blacksburg. If any of y'all know the route, it's 81 and it's long, and you go through deep, dark parts of Pennsylvania where if you get stranded, you just out there. Like, and I'd be driving this joint, and the joint would stall, and I'd be like, and it's nothing you can do. Like, and you stranded, whatever, PA, college student, you don't have money for a tow truck.
Damn.
So anyway, that's always been like, I don't want to ever go through that, of having that
Right.
uncertainty and doubt. Like, I'm on a journey, so literally and figuratively, and I don't know at what point I might stall and just be stuck in the middle of nowhere with no help, no one to
Damn.
call. This is pre-cell phone era, you know what I mean? 1993. You get
Oh
stuck on
God.
81
No.
in the middle of nowhere. What you gonna
No.
do? You go, and it's 8:30 at night.
No.
Who you gonna call? Nobody. So anyway, that's just a little behind. I haven't actually told anybody that's where that was from.
And yet
heard it here
within
first.
within that struggle, right? Within that struggle, that was part of what tested your perseverance.
Yeah.
Most people would have given up at that exact first point where the stall occurred.
Yeah. Do you fold up your tent and go home? You know what I mean? Or do you keep pushing? So it's like I said, story of my life. Where should I commence? Because it's like, extensive. Story of my life. Where should I commence? I knew that this was bigger than me, so I've been working ever since. Had to figure out exactly what I am here to do. Sometimes you choose the goal, sometimes it chooses you, searching for the answers and taking lots of chances. I had to grab a hold and take control of all my circumstances. Every time that I survived, I used that as a lesson, because in disguise, I realized that there might be a blessing. It took a lot of effort and a lot of sacrifice. This is my calling, and I'm all in like the World Series of Dice. It was an education that was pretty far from formal. The path I chose to make and take was pretty far from normal. Many times I was coloring outside the lines. Instead of following patterns, I made up my own designs. When the skies were overcast and it wouldn't stop raining, I waited for the seeds to grow, the reason I've been training. I could work harder, but I chose to work smarter. But this not working out at all, that was a non-starter. I'm ready for the situation because I made the preparations. I'm still cool with some of the gang, but I got no time for celebration. Mass times acceleration, use the force, elevation. This is what I'm called to do, say that without no hesitation. Never compromise integrity, chasing celebrity. So much bigger than all of that because I'm building legacy. So that's kind of what I wanted to say. And you see in there, like, it's funny because, like, I got to get the punchlines and the metaphors and words in there, So I don't know if people pick up on it or not, but I made the preparation.
No, like
I'm
I
still
said,
cool
I
with
got to
some of
do
the
a
gang.
post on that, and like we need to have a whole conversation on that in itself. You know what I'm saying?
Word
But
up. Word up.
that right there is like, this is my call. It's funny. My program, Make It Full Time. We talked about that before, and like I'm actually launching a new season on Monday, and that's like the theme song of my program. Like that's what it's about. Like Make It Full Time is helping people understand that song. You know.
Word up.
So I had like a girl, she just gave her boss 2 weeks notice. I had another guy, he just quit the job. I had another sister, I just made my first 1,000, so like that, it's that feeling that you put in that verse right there. Yo, I can't believe I'm 20 minutes over and I gotta go into this nonviolence training. But
G-Wiz up in the check-in.
absolutely. When you talk about like not letting things stall.
Do me right.
What up?
G-Wiz is a brother that
good,
I was just telling Baha'i Boy that there was years where like the DJ element was not really emphasized, much less the production element, right? Because you have like beatboxing, you have like fashion, you have several elements that are clearly, integral to hip hop culture now, besides just DJing or MCing. You got beatboxing, you got production, right, which has branched into its own thing adjacent to DJing, just like MC once branched out of DJing, right?
Yep.
So G-Wiz was one of those dudes who was like, nah, regardless of what the budget is, regardless what's happening, I'm gonna make sure that if you call on me and you need me, I'm gonna bring in some producers, I'm gonna help represent the DJing element of this, so that it's still part of the festival. And this is where we talk about a lot of times behind the scenes, people showing up and seeing what they could bring to the festival. G-Wiz epitomizes that. You know what I mean? I think this might actually be one of the first years where he's fully had a significant amount of time. And even now, it's in COVID. You know what I mean? Even now, there's all these obstacles.
Yeah.
But this is one of the first years where he's worked to be able to be like, okay, at least I have more time to prepare. At least I have more control over the structure. He actually volunteered and gave his studio space to do a lot of the recordings for the virtual performers. He worked alongside with some of the producers, with some of the DJs. So I just want to let you say, brother, we got a couple minutes. Can you please tell me, like, I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. The first one is just, how are you feeling right now, knowing that we have actually arrived at this weekend? It's in the middle of the pandemic, but we are making the festival happen. How do you feel about what's happening now, and you're part of what you're making possible for us?
Thank you. I'm going to be honest. I kind of missed that entire question. It sounded a little bit like Neo falling into the out of the Matrix for the first time. Like,
How do you
digitized, so I missed a couple of parts.
how do
See, there
you
it goes again.
can you hear me now? Or is it breaking up still? It's still breaking up, huh?
And now you're all frozen.
See, this kind of answers the question, right? Like we in the middle of a pandemic and making this festival happen. By the way, the actual festival,
I
go
heard
to the
something about
link.
producing and beat making and
Yes.
and the festival,
Okay, so here's
but
my
I did
question.
not
'Cause
hear.
you're coming through
I
clear
feel
now.
like
You're coming through
it's
clear
on
now.
me, and y'all are still frozen. It's weird.
Oh no, I don't think he's hearing us. We can hear you now. You just started coming through clearer, so I think your reception got a little bit better. Here's the question: how do you feel about the fact that this is the International Hip Hop
No, I'm
Festival
frozen.
weekend, and that you made this
Okay.
happen, that you helped bring this to fruition, and it's happening right now in the pandemic? What's your general thoughts?
I kind of peeped that in retrospect, and it's an honor, and I love the kids, man, and I love Temple every year. I love the youth. I love the fresh experiences. I love the identity and the identification that hip hop has in this city and on that campus. And there are plenty of folks that came before all of us, I'd imagine. But the person I know who really helped steward that forward, which is still here in my doggone near 10-year experience with the university in that capacity, is you. So tap yourself on the shoulder and happy birthday. You ain't running from that. So continuing on,
Thank you,
yeah,
brother.
I mean,
Appreciate you.
it was a significant blessing and great opportunity to help out wherever I could. And I was fortunate enough to, have I recently procured the space and were able to square everything away and able to facilitate the that we had going on over for the festival. But the producer event included, but also what do we do? Youth for Change there. We did the Famous joint there. We did what else did we do? I think we did one more. We shot one more there at the space over at Royalties HCT, that stands for Hartford, Connecticut, over at East Hartford. But
You
I'm just so
had
glad that
the
we were able to
previous
pull things
favorite who's
together in a
now a
very hip hop
headliner,
fashion.
Blessings Divine. I think you shot Blessings Divine whole headliner piece, right?
Missed that a
Because
little bit,
he
but
was Blessings Divine was a favorite. He won the favorites, and now he became a headliner for this year. So I think he shot his whole piece at your studio too.
yes. He shot his, and there was a young lady that did some poetry as well who shot hers there as well. So it was good, man.
Yeah, the favorites poet.
It's just an honor to be a
Champ.
part of that, a deeper part of that of the program and the event as a whole. And yeah, we had more time, but unfortunately, unfortunately, we're unable to be live and on site because we had a really good show. And if we had everything to the way that our liking, I'm sure all of us would like to be in contact with one another, but we have to be conscious of what the world has brought us. But I think we were able to pull together good events from what I've seen shot there. So
I'm excited.
Proud of the kids.
I'm definitely proud of them. The energy they brought. I only got time for one more question, but I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Bahia, who was on, he's like a social activism dude and an MC that's featured this year. he was saying like he doesn't know any other festival that really incorporates the elements together. Like he knows a lot of festivals that like have a lot of rappers or just DJs, but like it's rare that we have like these different elements in one. And in fact, that's one of the good things about this is that I think a lot of us are going to be able to sit and participate and watch the whole thing. Because a lot of times when you're in a festival, people think you're in all parts. And a lot of times you can only run and catch like a little glimpse here and there while you're working on your part. It's hard to miss. It's easy to miss a lot of other parts, right? So this might be the first time where we all get to like see the whole thing. But it's also difficult. Like it's no shade to any festivals that don't have all these elements, because a festival is just difficult in general, much less a festival that has all these elements together that people don't even realize hip hop has these different facets. So my question to you is, in a festival like this, do you think where we're going with the DJ showcase and where we're going with the producer showcase is like a done deal and it's pretty much how it's going to be? Or do you feel like it's still evolving into something and you're still having ideas and you checking off boxes? This is where it can grow into. You still see potential and room for improvement. Do you feel like we're halfway to like what ideally should be? Do you feel like we're just beginning, or do you feel like we already got like the template and we just repeat it?
I think is with regards to the electronic piece, I think being forced, for lack of a better verb to describe what's happening, being forced to go electronic fully enlightened us to the capabilities of kind of furnishing the festival properly with all of the elements, but also being that's the International Hip Hop Festival, we're able to affect more people internationally than, which is like, duh, when we think about it now. But how else do you get other people involved in other countries? And it just smacked us right in the face because we had to. So I believe that we're still going to grow and develop from here. From the producerial aspect, there's just so many. Like this was kind of something. The interactive piece is something I'm not as electronically interactive. That is something I'm not fully adjusted to and acclimated to. So with developments going on with Musicology 101, shameless plug, and everything going on at the studio, I think I'll learn a lot and will be better suited, and I'll have a wider understanding of what that brings, what possibilities that brings, and yeah, we'll certainly be able to incorporate something different next year. I think I'm feeling really good about that, actually.
Thank you, brother. On that note, this has been the Sound Minds podcast. If you have not yet registered for the free 15th annual International Hip Hop Festival, which is taking place wherever you are this year, for the first time ever, it is taking place wherever your phone or laptop can connect. Please go to the link in the bio.
No matter who you are.
No matter who you are, no matter where you're at, you're welcome. We want to see more people than we could ever fit into a building, because that's the nature of this festival. It's about inclusion. We want to see you in the comments. We want to see your ideas. We want to see you being activated and empowering your community and saying, look, this is hip hop. This is what you can do even in a pandemic. And I think I'm going to just echo the words of my bro Star G, who said, you know what, it's an international hip hop festival. We always bring people from around the world. But one thing that just hit us in the face in the midst of this pandemic was we can now bring this to the world due to technology. So hopefully, world, if you've never been at the festival before, wherever you are and you're logging on from your phone and your laptop, you will spread the word, and let's get as many people as possible to see an example of the potential of hip hop this weekend. Love y'all. G Wiz, thank you, my brother. I'll see you soon. And I'll definitely see you tomorrow and be celebrating and enjoying the producer showcase. Can't wait to see it. Shout out to Miss Madley and Kelsey and all the producers who actually helped us provide beats for the favorite showcase as well. I love that spirit of like, you know, working between the different events. But yo, I'm Kaim, the rap poet, RAPOET. Click the link in bio and help celebrate my birthday by being part of this festival. It's free to get in wherever you are. Love y'all. I'm out.